program 1 tumbang, 2 tumbang, dan winner chicken dinner didapatkan oleh Alter Ego Limax, sebuah WWCD yang membuat kita harus mengatakan Alter Ego layak dan pantas ada di PMGC final.
Alter Ego, go go go! Luar biasa sekali pertunjukan yang ditampilkan.
Kami tidak pernah menyangka giliran ini akan datang. Didorong dengan dukungan dan harapan yang membuat kami percaya bahwa kami tidak sendirian. Kali ini bukan hanya tentang sekedar berjuang, namun untuk siapa kami harus menang. Untuk mereka, untuk kita, untuk Indonesia. Terima kasih untuk kesempatan ini.
Sangat disayangkan ternyata Titan join fight di sini. Tidak hanya Alpha 7, hanya menyisakan satu yang terakhir Liquid. Low banget Liquid, granat. Oh no, granat tersebut memulangkan semua pemain Bigetron.
Memang di-fire karena bagian dalam dan ternyata di tahu tertek bisa ke masih berdansa, ternyata terbait oleh tim Morph. Morph luar biasa sekali bisa melakukan bait karena bagian defense dengan sangat baik karena dia tahu di bagian dia akan maju.
Untuk Genesis Doma ngeras maju karena bagian depan ibu-ibu beli beras. Ayo kita rush maju tembak dan ternyata malah box Devo tahu hanya terasa Devo suara diri saja. What happened? Sangat disayangkan.
Kita Indonesia.
Kita Indonesia.
Kita Indonesia.
Kita Indonesia.
Kita Indonesia.
Kita Indonesia.
Kita Indonesia.
Kita Indonesia. Indonesia.
Fast.
Hello everyone, I'm Zin. Hello guys, I'm Yohai. Their team is very good one, strong one. They have good communications. They know how to react in last circles and how to control everything.
T2K, I started know them since PMPL with Southeast Asia, right? You fight with SPG, right? Yeah. Started from there, I see that they're very big potential team from Nepal.
I think I'll win.
You think you will win?
Yeah.
I think I will win.
Oh, let's
see. 1v1
challenge. Let's start.
Team match, let's go.
Wow, wow.
That was a nice one.
Thank you. Oh, luck, bro, luck.
Don't win, bro.
Okay. GG. First game.
I just you won.
Okay.
It's fine.
I thought
It was OP.
I'm gonna win.
Yeah, I take my war back.
You won.
Game 2. I'll take my revenge.
You sure?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's see who's the best shooter.
Wow, he's too good. Keep some point for me, bro.
Okay.
I think that's enough for.
No, I need to win, bro. Oh, so hard.
Oh, okay.
Finish.
Bro, I have chance.
You have chance?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. One more, brother. Let's go. Nice. You got 60 points. I got 55. I lose. So, game 3. Let's start now.
Let's go.
I'm coming, brother.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, I just give you a chance on it.
Ah.
Yeah. I told you I'm gonna win.
Whoa. That was nice.
Thank you, bro.
Whoa. It's okay. One more left.
One more. Good luck.
You saying good luck and taking all the kills.
Where are you? Oh, you here.
I was hiding there.
That's you. I still win 2 rounds. He win 1 round. Let's go for the punishment. Which one will you like to choose?
I'll be choosing this one.
And
this one.
so guys, I need to choose this one, and okay, I wear it. How do I look?
How do I look? You look too good.
Too good.
Yeah.
You know it?
Yeah, I find it very interesting because we get to know each other a lot. So it was very fun.
I'm so happy to meet Jen from T2K, and yeah, we have fun together. To all my fans, everyone fans, don't forget to support us and don't forget to watch us on the grand final in Jakarta.
जो हुन्छ सबैजना अब PUBG मोबाइल हेर्नेहरू सबैजनाले सपोर्ट गरिदिनु होला। हामी नेपालबाट नेपाललाई रिप्रेजेन्ट गर्न आएको यहाँ। सो सबैजना अब PUBG मोबाइललाई फलो गरिदिनुहोस् र गेम अब आउँदैछ छिटै हेरिदिनु होला। धन्यवाद।
10 üzerinden 7. Doğru yaptığı yer de var, yanlış yaptığı yer de var.
Bisa taruh hindi ko ya.
Never play with fire.
ผมอาจจะเต้นไม่ค่อยแข็งแรงนะครับ แต่ในเกมผมแข็งแกร่งครับ
He watch me.
Showtime! Fast.
On üzerinden 7. Doğru yaptığı yer de var, yanlış yaptığı yer de var. O yüzden. Şimdi size doğru olanını göstereyim.
Fast.
Bisa taruh hindi ko ya. Di urut ini karam ini kono. Bisa taruh ya.
Showtime!
Good try. A bit awkward, but yeah. I would like to give him 5%. Okay lah, not bad. But I will show you what's the real PUBG dance. You watch me.
Showtime! Fast.
ที่เหลือผมก็เล่นให้มันสนุกครับ ใครขวางผมฆ่าหมด I never give up to anything.
Grand finalde her daim olduğu gibi şampiyonluğu hedefliyoruz. Never give up. We are Fireflies. Never play with fire.
Бид нэр бисяартаар хамаг чадлаараа бүх юмаа дайж тоглоно. Бид нар тоглолт эхлэхээс өмнө бид бол старт орт гэж нэгнийгээ зоригжуулж нэгэнд дэм өгч орлог.
I perform very well, and I will show them my true color, my true pure skill, and I will try to beat them as far as I want to. So that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to watch us and support us in the grand final.
İzlediğiniz için teşekkürler. Grand finalde
Finalдээр уулзцаа.
Who will be the one?
Welcome everybody to PMGC 2022. My name is Felix and I'll be your desk host throughout the next 3 days. I genuinely could not be more excited, especially since this is my first time on the desk. Luckily, I'm not alone. I'm joined by none other than Maxman and 7 Worlds Gaming. How are you guys doing?
Doing fantastic. Thank you so much, Felix. We are here, the teams are here, the audience is here right now.
Oh, yes.
All here to try and take home that trophy. 7, I cannot wait to get into the action.
I am ready, baby. We've been waiting for this for so long that we are finally here, as you guys have been saying. I can't wait to see who's going to be the champion. I can't wait to see who's going to end up surprising us, because we know one thing. Somebody is going to surprise us, and can Nova get a three-beat? Back to back to back?
That's a lot of trophies. We'll have to see. But hey, IHG from Mongolia, one of the 2 teams from Mongolia. The first time we have 2 teams from this region in PMGC Grand Finals. And really, with their performance in the League Stage 7, a clear chance they can be a contender for that trophy.
They can definitely be a contender. One of the main questions for me out of this team, though, is in the last chance, they actually didn't get any chicken dinners yet. They were still able to qualify.
So consistent.
I want to see if they can get at least a chicken dinner here on day 1.
Oh, I love that. Look at him just doing the little heart into the audience. And I can just, I just want to say this. The energy in this room, the energy in this arena is absolutely mind-blowing. Look at this. They are just screaming for everyone. I love it. I love it.
It's absolutely amazing. I mean, for Angry Men, also another team coming in from China with Span. I would have to call 7 the Giga Chad of the tournament. He's played already in PMGC. He's already played at this stage with players that have never been making it to a PMGC Grand Finals. He allowed his team to make it. He gave his international experience to them, and now they're aiming high. They're aiming to potentially beat their friends of Nova Esports.
It really is, and I want to see how they're going to be able to perform here, especially 33 Span. As you mentioned, he hasn't actually been here since 2020. Will this be the year that they're actually going to be able to put up a great performance and state their name internationally even more? I can't wait to see what 4 Angry Men are going to be doing.
They look very serious, and they are serious in-game as well. I love it. For Angry Men, I gotta say, personally, I don't even want to say, but I would rate them in this tournament, in this finals. I don't know, but just disregard that.
Hey, a massive F, okay? Hopefully you know F's in the chat for them. but I mean, clearly,
please
hopefully not.
welcome
But
Five
looking at the contender, but Five Flux, a team from Turkey. They beat the record with the most elimination 7 for a single chicken dinner, 27 in the spring season. Turkey's been just growing so much in the past few years, and right now maybe at a level where they can compete for the trophy.
I was so lucky to meet them in Istanbul last month, and these guys, I talked to them. How are you guys feeling going into this World Championship? This is once in a lifetime experience, essentially, right? You don't get another chance at this, potentially, right? Because the qualifiers are so hard, and they're saying, we're going into this guns blazing, we have the confidence, we are just the type of persons and the character as well to be able to win this and take this home, and honestly, after meeting them, I am convinced they are.
And for me, Fireflux has to be the clutch factor, because this team, it came down to the last game of Group Green for them to actually clutch it up and get here to the Grand Finals. I'm hoping it doesn't stay until the last game. I'm hoping they're able to clutch up right away.
I mean, Group Green, the group of death, right? Able to make it through, that came out as a really big surprise, but right now they made it to the highest stage possible.
Yep.
And I'm telling you, Turkey, they've been looking so
It's
good.
DRS
Can they go the entire way? We'll have to see these next 3 days.
We'll have to wait and find out, as we do have DRS Gaming.
DRS Gaming, yes. Was that DRS Gaming already on the stage?
It's going quick.
Oh yeah, it's going quick. Just popping out of the tunnel over there. I like these guys too, right? Just wanna shine with that information. I talked to them as well. One of their moms is actually their manager, and it was completely lovely talking to them, these guys as well. They're so incredibly confident in this. You can just tell when talking to them, they know who they are. They know who they are as players, as individuals. And I think that as well is something that, the winner mentality, you just feel it sometimes. And that's something that is needed and necessary to be able to, perform at the highest, the very, very highest level.
I gotta feel, it almost feels like it would be illegal to not have DRS in a PMGC, and they make it every single year. They just here, you don't know how, and they once again representing the PAL, and they made it so often to this stage. Wouldn't it be great to see the PAL win on the biggest stage here in the Grand Finals and take the trophy? It could happen. It could be this year in 2022.
And I would have to agree with you on that. DRS, I mean, we're used to seeing them in PMC, but this is actually their first
Next,
PMGC
making
Grand
their
Finals.
PMGC
Will they crumble
debut,
or will they rise up?
it's Influence Canning
That's a big
from
storyline. Hopefully it'll
Brazil.
be the case, but we've got some big contenders. We'll have to see, and one of those being that's for you here, Seven. Influence Kevin will look in so good, especially in their stage.
Yeah, the only team, especially out of Brazil, that was actually able to qualify to the grand finals from group stages. We have seen amazing potential at this team. I mean, what else can we say about them, right? They have such great quality players. Brazil, we're talking about Turkey. I'm going to talk about Brazil. Because there's just so many great players from Brazil. I can't wait to see what they're going to be doing, Max.
What was it? 3 out of 4 teams from Brazil all made it to the final. That's an insane success ratio, Seven. I understand why you love the region. They clearly showed up, but so far it's been Nova. It's been Nova again. They got themselves the win. Another region that can get it definitely is Brazil. And I mean, they've been looking so hard in the league stage. If they keep on going here, they could go in.
I believe. I'm saving my Brazil pick though. I think everybody will know which one it is.
Which one? I'm not too sure.
From Turkey, it's S2G Esports.
One of the most clutch qualifications in the grand final. Crazy, been able to clutch versus LGD. In this game right now, you can see on your screen, one singular player up against the entirety of LGD qualifies his team. That is by far my favorite game of PUBG Mobile ever since I started casting, and Crazy is the one to make it happen.
Wow, and also you were telling me that you were a big fan of Kelsey. You just said his name.
He's amazing.
Yeah, you were saying he's one of the best players in Europe for you. And I was quite surprised by the statement, not because it's super far-fetched, but because I would have some different names up there in terms of Aussie international experience when we talk looking at HVP, who did make it to the finals right now. So that statement surprised me, but then again, as you said, they are here. And they're looking to take it home.
Exactly, I think it's Silas that just gave so much experience to his team, and now Kelsey in particular, as you said, a player that I'm looking at here that can shine so brightly in these finals. We've got so many other teams here. I mean, we're hyping up every team, just going to show how tough this competition is going to be for these next 3 days.
I'm getting flashbacks of when I got to do group
From
range
Malaysia,
during group stages, and that was group of death, and now this is like the ultimate group of death for everybody.
Yeah, it was like a fever dream group of death, I think, to some extent, but so many other teams are just looking absolutely fantastic, and GeekFam so dominant in the league stage. Really, my expectations are like middling for this team, but the domination in the league stage, 61-point lead above 4 Angry Men, a team that has once again been looking so good in their home region of China, and now they've got a lot. There's a lot of fans of GeekFam in the crowd. We saw them earlier, and especially with Yuhai on the board, you just can't go wrong.
Add me to that group of fans, because you just mentioned the name that I wanted to talk about. Yuhai, he had an amazing performance during group stages during the whole year, and I think he's starting to step it up in a big way, and I feel like this might be an even more of a breakout performance in PMGC Grand Final.
I mean, he was playing with BTR too. Like, this guy just been getting so much experience. It can pay off in this event right now, Alex.
Yes, 100%.
Next,
the fanship comes from all around the world right now. We saw Malaysian fans
Mongolia.
right there in the crowd. Supporting that team right now in Jakarta, Indonesia, which, you know, we are live here from as well. We're going to see us in a minute, don't you worry. This is just mind-boggling. Esports is bringing us together, PUBG Mobile is bringing us together, and, well, that's not wasting time. Let's go on to the next team. Already up.
Godlike Star Wars, I don't want to talk about them too much because the curse is around.
In case you're wondering, last year during PMGC Grand Finals, whenever Max actually picked them, they ended up in 7th place, and they were one of the favorite ones, Max. Are they still one of your favorite teams?
I went to talk to Senator from a distance to not give the curse, you know.
You didn't shake hands, did you?
No.
Okay.
No. Smart. Fist bump, does that count? I'm not sure. Oh, too much maybe. But he said they're looking really confident, and I think that this is the best form this team has currently looked into in a long time. And once again, 2 Mongolian teams, this is the one that has the highest chance, in my opinion, to maybe take the trophy.
And I hinted at it. I mean, I was talking about Group Green, the group of death during the death stages. Guess what? This team ended up winning that group. So I think they are more than ready. And I think if there was ever a time
The
for them to
dark
break a back,
horses in
it will
their
be now.
PMGC debut.
We've got once again so much
It's
competition, so
Barrowman
many high-level
United
teams that one of those
Esports
teams
of
is Barrowman,
Thailand.
not only a team that dominated in Group Red, a team that we didn't really know about too much on this stage, but a team with the sickest jersey, I have to say.
Yes.
They are dripped out of their mind.
I was going around just over here in the venue trying to find somebody that was maybe willing to just sell me their jersey. I couldn't find anybody, so I think I might have to do something else. We'll have to wait and see that.
I think it's your product.
It probably is. One of the 9 teams also that qualified directly into the grand finals through the group stage. And we see them coming out right now.
Look at
I do believe there are plenty of fans here in the arena as well. I saw some earlier, some visitors, some of the audience walking in with their jerseys actually. So maybe that's an opportunity for you as well.
I feel like, yeah, we'll have to. I'm not putting my hopes up. Just look at it. It looks so good.
Oh.
I Can I do that? I know you guys can't see us right now, but I'm definitely trying to look.
Wait, let me try as well.
Oh, okay, yeah, you got it. Matt. Oh, hey, we'll do it. We're coming in like with the Boomerang boys. Look at that. It's their merch.
Please
their merch
welcome
and their play style.
Inco Gaming from
Inco
Brazil.
Gaming. All right, this is it's still not my Brazilian pick. Okay, still not my Brazilian pick. But the performance that this team had, there is one big question mark for me, and that is all these players. I mean, Nenebete especially. I feel like that player alone put the team on his back, Max, and got him here to the grand finals. And to be fair, I mean, for all these players, it is their first grand finals. I'm really excited to see how they're going to be reacting to that.
I'm just going to give a tip to all the teams and players out there. If you're against Nenebete and he has a DBS, don't fight it, just run, get a buggy, just get out of it, okay? And you'll have a better chance, but they're looking so strong as a team once again. Brazil, we're just talking about the region. Every team that's here is like not just one team clearly is above the rest, like they're all looking so confident right now. And look at that, this guy, he's just aiming for the trophy here.
Looking confident, looking good too. Inco Gaming, all right. I'm excited to see what they're going to be doing, Alex.
100%. Also, got to say, all these teams, obviously, they are in the Americas region as well. And I do have to say, well, this may have been, it's so sad that we have none of the NA teams here.
You buy direct
all of the teams
invitation.
that come from the Americas
Let's
region.
welcome Wolves Esports from China.
Don't break my heart.
Me and said it on Kopia because there's no NA teams, there's no Western Europe teams. We're like,
let's not talk about that. Come on.
Let's just forget about it for a minute.
Oops, I miss you.
Why did you have to bring that up?
Oh boy, but otherwise got Wolves, of course, you know, a team that previous SMG team, first time playing outside of their region here, 7, and a lot of question marks. Can they play to the level of which 4 Angry Men have been able to do in the past, especially as well as Nova has been able to do in the past? There's a lot of questions surrounding this team, but right now they need to show up in these 3 days.
And I think they're going to be able to surprise a lot of teams. They didn't really get a chance to play in the group stages or any of the stages before this as they qualified directly. I feel like they're going to be surprising a lot of teams. And something to keep in mind too, with Wolves being here, that is now 3 Chinese teams. And we were talking about this before the show started. I think it might be the first time in Grand Finals, and I'm pretty sure if we're wrong, somebody's going to correct us on Twitter, but I think it might be the first time in Grand Finals that we get 3 teams from China, which is crazy.
The odds of the trophy going back to China
are
strong.
very high.
Yeah, very high, okay? Give it to someone else though, share the love, please.
Next team coming up is going to be T2K trying to eliminate. And, well, I was talking to you earlier because I wanted to highlight them especially because that is the second team coming out of the Nepal region. And for me, myself, I thought, you know, it is an incredibly strong region, but I had my hopes up for some of the other regions. I would not have expected Nepal to bring 2 into it, but you were just completely on the opposite. It was like, say, Nepal, that was almost expected at that point.
Exactly. The thing is that Train to Kill, to get here, they had to absolutely shatter the hopes and dreams of other teams, especially Reject from Japan. Japan was looking so good in the league stage, and it was like, go back from which you came, go back to your region, and we are going to be making it to the grand finals. So you're taking down some top teams outside of your region. Now they've got to live up to the expectations. They need to perform here.
They essentially eliminated the whole region
by
the home team. We saw the crowd going wild earlier. There's drama in here. There's just almost the whole stadium just supporting Eggy, and I can understand why. These players are fantastic.
Yeah, Alter Ego. I mean, I'm excited. I'm really hoping deep down within my heart that they do amazing here because I want to see this crowd absolutely pop off next.
Hopefully. And the thing is, right, this is the team that qualified directly for the finals. They qualified through Indonesia points throughout the entirety of the year. That shows to me here, 7, consistency. If this team can play at that level on this stage, chances are the trophy might not go very far and just remain in Indonesia. That would be amazing. But no, taking down teams like EVOS and BTR, Alter Ego, the pressure is on their shoulders. Can they live up to the expectations?
And that's something that I'm so happy that you brought up because they are one of the only Indonesian team here, right?
Yeah.
The pressure is going to be massive for them. When they get a chance to actually spend some time with the players and talk to the coach, they seem very comfortable. They seem very confident too, so I think they will have a good performance.
And that's a big question mark. Is a crowd like that also a big opportunity to, you know, boost your confidence, or is it maybe a different variable in terms of, you know, nervousness, in terms of, do you really feel comfortable playing at a stage like this with pretty much the home crowd at your back?
If we go based on what we saw earlier in the year, when we go back to PMWI, a lot of the Saudi Arabian teams did pretty well with the home crowd. Yeah, so I think it will play in their favor.
Of course, Alpha 7, I don't even really want to talk about them? I think that's your thing, Seven. Like, you have the rights to talk about them. Go for it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've been hyping it up. I've been talking about my pick for Brazil, and this is my pick right here. If there was ever a time for Alpha 7 to do great in the Grand Finals, I feel like this is the Grand Finals where they're going to be able to showcase that. This is a team that in the previous 2 PMGC finals, they have finished in 9th place twice. And that's just something that I know they're not going to be looking to do here in this Grand Finals, especially Revo. I mean, he's been playing out of his world. I feel like with Alpha 7, they usually tend to rely a lot in Carrillo, and that is not the case this year. A lot of the other players are stepping up in a big way.
I don't know if you saw that, the stare down of Carrillo. I mean, this man has got determination.
And I was scared back here. I was scared back here, let me tell you.
Some people have been doubting him in the case because he hasn't
Please
been
welcome
MVP in a while.
Vampire
He might be trying to shut
Esports
them out.
of
Yeah, it could be happening. I mean,
Thailand.
the determination is definitely there, but Vampire, we need to bring up this team. Not only the whole region of Thailand has been looking so strong, but the back-to-back winners in the main tournament and after-party showdown
Yes.
of PNWI 2022 in Riyadh. Like, you have 2 different events. The fact that they just win both so dominantly really comes out of nowhere. So really, Vampire, now PMWI, dude, done. Ticked off that box.
Yep.
PMGC is next. Can they make it happen?
And we were talking about, writing history with an event like this. They have already written history this year, and now it's time to maybe get a little bit closer to Nova in terms of just general success in the scene. Sure, maybe that isn't gonna, even if they win this, maybe this isn't gonna put them on the same level, but we are getting there, and that is their goal. I know these players really need this, they really want this. You've been talking to these guys as well, and well, if there is any time in history to make something happen, it is now.
Exactly.
The big question mark for me out of Vampire Esports is how are they going to start in day 1? If they do start slow, they usually tend to struggle the whole tournament. Hold on, give me a second. I gotta listen to this.
Nova of China.
The back-to-back champions of PMGC Grand Finals. And I think it's safe to say that they are maybe they are the favorite team to probably try to repeat back-to-back-to-back.
I love the interview of Paraboy too. He's like, oh, it was actually surprisingly easier to qualify to the finals this year. I'm like you've got some teams like Nigma Galaxy, you've got a team, so many good teams that did not qualify. Like, oh, easy peasy, mate. Don't even think about it.
They had the group there, and he said that. And it was so easy that, you know what, I was going to save this for later as we were talking about it, but I'm just going to say now, I actually got a chance to talk with Paraboy, and he told me that he has switched his button layout. He's going to be going from 2 fingers to 4 fingers. And he's doing that change just for PMGC. And the reason why he's doing that is because he just feels like trying new tricks to make the game more fun for himself.
It's the equivalent of what you're getting like in that gamer pose. You're like, okay, serious mode activate. Like, because the league stage, this is very like Nova. League stage, a little bit all over the place. The finals, when they have a goal to just aim for, that's when they play at their peak. And especially Orda and Paraboy are still on top, still the 2 best players, if not the best players in the world. The thing is, can they be taken down in this form? It is not going to be easy.
It's not going to be easy, but I mean, we've been saying if there is going to be a time, I think it will probably be this PMGC with all the quality that we have.
And with that being said, we are going over to the stage to Banks and Donaviska. Enjoy, guys. Take it away.
Hello and welcome to the 2022 PMGC Grand Finals. My name is Banks and I am your host, and I'm joined on the main stage by my incredible co-host. It is of course Donaviska.
Halo semuanya, selamat datang di 2022 PMGC Grand Final. Wow. Selamat datang teman-teman semuanya. Saya Donaviska sebagai host kalian, dan pastinya ada Banks di sini sebagai partner saya yang luar biasa.
PMGC brings together the world's greatest mobile gamers, and after a month of explosive action throughout the league, the survival stage, and of course the last chance qualifier, we are now left with the top 16 teams in the world.
Yes, betul sekali. PMGC ini sudah menyatukan mobile gamers terbaik di seluruh dunia. Dan setelah 1 bulan aksi yang memukau kemarin, dari babak liga, dari babak survival stage, dan juga last chance qualifier, akhirnya pada kesempatan kali ini kita telah melihat ke-16 tim terbaik di dunia yang pada kali ini akan bertanding.
So, where are we? Well, it is my pleasure to announce to you that we are coming to you live from Jakarta, Indonesia, where the best of the best are going to go head-to-head to see who has what it takes to claim that $1.5 million prize pool and of course the PMGC trophy.
Dan pastinya senang sekali kita live di sini dari Jakarta, Indonesia. Akhirnya hal ini sudah kita tunggu-tunggu sejak lama sekali dan kita bisa menjadi saksi tim manakah yang menjadi tim terbaik di dunia di tahun 2022 ini yang akan mendapatkan prize pool 1,5 juta USD dan pastinya PMGC Trophy.
So Donna, today we're going to be kicking things off with a free-for-all show match. That means that our players will not be playing as teams, they will be flying solo for this one.
Ya, that's right, Bangs. Dan teman-teman semua, sebelum kita masuk kepada inti acara pada hari ini, kita akan punya show match terlebih dahulu yang sedikit berbeda. Kalau misalnya mereka biasanya bermain secara full squad, kali ini mereka akan bermain sendiri-sendiri dalam solo match.
So without any further ado, I believe it is time to see some more familiar faces on your screen. So we're going to head over to the analyst desk where they can break everything down before we dive into today's show match.
Well, baiklah tanpa basa-basi lagi, langsung aja kita oper ke analis desk kita karena mereka sudah bersiap-siap. Jadi host dan juga analis kita, silakan.
And there we have it. We're actually on camera, guys. Welcome to PMGC 2022. Once again, my name is Felix. I'm joined by the beautiful Maxman and 7 Worlds Game. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing fantastic, and we're not online. We're here.
I know.
It feels so unreal, Seven, to be here. I think every single time we've done an event together is like almost like online somewhat.
Yeah.
But we're here with the team, with the fans,
with the players
it feels
too.
So good. The players are pretty important. The fans are here too, though.
Yes, they're gonna get me hyped up. Okay, we heard them screaming. We saw the Indonesian people, the talent, getting them hyped too, and I was like, yes, this is what I've been missing.
This is pretty hyper right now.
I've had goosebumps, literally goosebumps the first time. Everyone just walked in, audience is full. Before, my goodness, I am just already nervous. Game starting
it's
soon.
really
Before
hype,
we get into the first show match of the day, we quickly want to take a moment to thank our sponsors, and especially the Xperia One Mark IV. I've got it here. Look at this. The Xperia One Mark IV and the Xperia Stream, which were co-developed in collaboration with professional esports players. Play PUBG Mobile with Xperia Stream's total cooling system and multiple ports for intensive gaming and streaming. And also, obviously, we do want to thank Prime Gaming. If you haven't heard about Prime Gaming, you've probably lived under a rock for the last years because it's just in everyone's mouth. With Prime Gaming, you do get free in-game content for lots of games. And also, PUBG Mobile, free items, premium content, so make sure to sign up and check it out. Also, last but not least, we want to thank the PBESI, which is the local esports association in Indonesia, for supporting this event. Thank you to you guys as well. One more notice for you guys at home. If you haven't noticed, there is a PMGC fan favorite vote going on right now for the grand finals. So if you have a favorite in mind, and I think all of us do, let's be honest, then make sure to collect PMGC tokens in the Erangel map and use them to vote for your favorite team in the esports center. You will find all of that in-game, so make sure just to open your PUBG Mobile app and you'll be right there. Next up, a quick reminder for you guys at home. I know you've seen this a million times, but make sure to follow us on all the social media platforms. You see it right here. We've got YouTube, we've got Instagram, we've got Facebook, TikTok, Twitter. Everything is available for you guys at home. So make sure to just check it out.
Show match, baby.
Oh, yes. Let's get into the spicy parts for today. Today's matches will be starting off with a show match, and it is $3,000 in prize pool for the first one. But there's something special about this show match. It's not just any show match. Tell me about it.
It's actually going to be not a team play, it's just everyone going solo. And I have one big question for this one, right?
Okay.
It's going to be, are we going to see potentially a support or an IGL win instead of fraggers? Because you would think fraggers would have a little bit maybe of an advantage going into this game mode. I would love to see if another kind of role than fragger might get the win here.
Oh, man. You know what? I'm actually going to answer that question. I think an IGL might take it.
Ooh, I mean, good rotations.
Yes, great rotations, put themselves in the right place, take only a fight when they need to. I feel like a fragger might just send it. That's what I would do.
But I'm thinking about it now because because now all the teams are going to be split. Are they all going to drop together in the same area, or they're just going to like split out?
No.
You'd have like a mini battle royale in each city, and then you just got one survivor. Like you got the Pachinki survivor, you got the Yasnai Polyana survivor. There's so many ways this could go down to like initiate things. It's just good fun.
I feel like that's not how the players want to start their their PMGC Grand Finals.
Just mad at your teammate the entire
their
day.
first elimination is your teammate that you're going to be playing 18 matches with. Don't do that. Just go away from it. But to answer your question, let me bring this scenario up, okay? Who would you take if it's Jimmy from Nova Esports
or Paraboy, or Order. I was going to say Order.
Yeah.
So don't leave my boy Order out there. Order, I go Order.
My boy Jim.
I thought you were going to pick like a player from Alpha 7. What's going on?
That's for later. Relax.
Ah, okay. Too soon.
I do have to say though,
You stole $3,000 from me.
I was thinking, because I used to be in IGL back when I played as well, and just the general thought process of where you would drop, right? Normally you're used to your own drop spots, essentially, right? So I feel like you kind of feel yourself pulled there like a magnet to some degree. But then again, you will see all your teammates. Anyways, let's quickly head on over to the show match participants. Who is going to be playing? To no surprise to you at home, we have everyone here. We've got all the teams in their own rights, and that means, well, all of these players will have their own teams. Essentially, they're playing for themselves, but the players themselves will come from the teams that we have in the PMGC Grand Finals either way. So there we have it. S2G, A7, Vampire. Everyone is here. Everyone is going to be coming in. 64 players, 3,000 for the winner.
Any predictions, Max?
I was going to say predictions. I have one that I think you can't really expect. I'm going to go with Kenzo from Biram. Reason why, this guy, when we saw him play, just always said, oh man.
Wait,
big
hold on. Hold on. Where's that? Ooh, okay. The Indonesian fans are coming in. They're bringing in the hype. I'm loving this. This is a big group, by the way.
This is not, these are not
Alter
fans, this
ego.
is an army.
Alter ego, baby. They showed up. We were talking about, are they going to be feeling the pressure? Are they going to be feeling the love from their fans? I think they will now.
Because, of course, we didn't have enough people screaming earlier when Alter Ego were here. We needed more people.
They got the memo.
In terms of Alter Ego, tell me, guys, show match, Zolos, is that something that you think a player, especially someone that is so focused in towards, getting started, well, you can't really because you have a show match coming up, is that something that you think will disrupt their state of flow to some degree?
No.
They want to start getting into the matches. Do you think that show match is not going to bother them at all?
Nah, this is just fun.
I think this is just to get the four fingers of Paraboy heated up. It's like, okay, now I'm feeling in a vibe like a mini TDM, well, a pretty big TDM.
I think they're just going to be all having fun. And for my prediction, I think it's whoever ends up being blessed with the circle at the end.
You know what? Circles could be pretty important in PUBG Mobile in general. But yeah, I mean, it's just going to be, as we said, a fun game mode, right? And it's just going to set maybe a few expectations for teams that are looking already hot.
I do hope if we end up with the 1v1 at the end, I want to see it pan off, okay?
Wait a minute. You didn't give your prediction.
I did.
Who was it? I forgot.
Whoever gets blitzed by the circle.
That's
a broad one.
I'll tell you after the game.
What? No, you got... Okay.
I can tell you mine, though.
Oh, yeah.
I am going for the absolute GOAT that I was so scared to approach to take a photo, which is Paraboy. I'm just going to say it like that. I'm one of these Paraboy Instagram fan page scrolling guys. I literally am.
That's a cop-out answer.
I am.
It's too easy.
I know it's too easy, but I'll just go for it anyways because, if no one else doing it, then I will.
Look at the Alpha 7
so
people.
much. Is very
sitting
soon
down,
starting. We saw an
support.
army approaching the audience, and that army has just arrived to support their favorite teams. It might be Alter Ego. I do believe most of them were here for Alter Ego. And with that being said, we are very soon going over to the casters. With us today is none other than John Allen and the potentially most fashionable man in esports. Take it away, boys.
Thank you very much.
It's me, Blank.
It's Blank. That's who it is who's with me today. We are so excited to kick things off here for the PMGC with the show match. 1 versus 1s. Going to be happening towards the end of it, but there's so much more to get through before that as well.
At least 64 1v1s could be happening right now. Well,
32?
32?
I don't know.
32. I would say 32, but it could happen. Well, let's not go into numbers here, 'cause it's going to get very confusing very quickly. We'll start after multiplying on top of each other. We don't want to do that right now, do we? So we're going into our 1v1s here. This is our show match to start the day off. This is going to be a quick one, but this could be a really good place to cement yourselves as one of those players that you want to watch out for in the lobby, because I do think we have some hot contenders that looked great yesterday. The crowd is very loud at the moment, which makes me extremely happy. I'm going to feed off that energy like a vampire and bring it straight to the stage here.
Oh, fantastic. I like it. I like it. We were looking at a couple of the players. They were talking about them over on the desk. We were sort of looking around. My outside pick, I would say, for me, Kenzo. I'm looking for this guy who was really, really strong for Buradam during their performance, during the group stages, during those parts of the tournament.
For sure.
In a solo capacity, I think he's got the legs.
I think he does as well. I think he really does bring up the absolute speed on that team. And I think you look at a player like Nenebete, he's very, very good, very fast, very slick with it, getting into position, but a lot of times that is a case of getting those end game points. It's not necessarily getting up towards that top side. Was definitely a really, really strong player over in that league stage. Maybe another player that I'm looking at is Stoned from VPE. Really, really strong player from there. Individually, very good. On the other hand of things, I do worry about that player sometimes because he is extremely good at the game, but he has his dips now and then. But I think that this could easily be a position where he's able to take on top. There's your boy. If you don't know who he is, get to know, and I'm sure you will do soon, so I'm not going to spoil anything just yet. But his name ends with Yang and starts with James, so just wait and see.
I'm sure we'll be hearing a little bit more from him later on. But going into this 1 versus 1, I feel like default winner, Order. Unless someone pops off, Order wins, right?
Yeah, so I was saying the same thing actually right at the beginning. I was saying, you know, Order was a really strong player coming through from Nova. It feels like a cop-out pick though, really, you know. I want to choose someone else just because, you know, although it does feel like Order will probably go to this one and smash out the park, there's definitely a chance here for something else to happen.
Well, let's go right into game number 1 with Arangel starting from a military plane all the way up to the northeast side. Kameshki for the plane path on this solos game. Now, if you have seen the map before, you will be familiar that there are normally team colors blank. None of those colors exist this time around. It is all 4-1.
It's a grey world out here today, and it's a little bit of a grim world as well because you can go out real quickly. Other than the one yellow player that we do have on our screen, which should flit around a little bit. That's the one we're currently holding, following over on that map feed. But other than that little splash of colour, yeah, everyone's out to get one another during this lobby. Already we're getting players dropping down over towards Sosnovka here. T2K dropping together, in fact, which... Ooh, is it going to be, you know, T2K on T2K action right at the beginning of the game?
I mean, there's prize money on the line for this game as well, right? You know, it's when friends can become enemies. It looks like a little bit of damage dealt there. Legend seemingly unfazed by the presence of a teammate, but there are shots being loose down the corridor, so potentially a bit of a scuffle here on the T2K drop down south. For the early doors, a nade pin being pulled. King moves forward, steps in their ears. It doesn't quite manage to get the nade through the door. It's unfortunate, won't do too much damage there. Legend upstairs now with a Vector. Close range, devastating weapon. Rig, Tommy gun, equally powerful in these scenarios, especially when you're lacking the armor. Molotov to reposition. But no eliminations just yet.
Seems like T2K are drawing this fight out just a little bit. Can certainly move. It's the first circle as well that we have seen in PMGC. Over towards that western side of the map. A lot of water in this one. Should start to shrink pretty quickly though. Over towards Quarry side most likely. Could head up towards that north on Hospital. Just on that lower edge of Everest. But T2K not doing too much. It feels like... I don't know how I feel about this, in fact.
Well, no one wants to go down first, right? I feel like even within the team it's going to cause bragging rights, but we're going to hop over to a different fight. This is Nova. I think this is Order downstairs with Federal from Influence Kemin playing around the side. AKM in hand, double barrel reload needing to come through for Order. Reposition. Auto shotgun as well in hand, suppressing these windows. And Federal just does not want to give this angle. Spots Order, shots through the window, and default winner down.
I mean, Federal's the one to do it there. Coming through from his team, I mean, Federal really puts on a clinic over in his group. And Order just couldn't step to it. Quick peek around the window. Straight on the headshot. Order didn't see it coming.
Rig around the sideline, spots the player, has to duck back in, sees him still there. Behind the box, not going to go for it, doesn't have the angle. Rig looks for a second, but the armor is super damaged right now. Will not matter, a single bullet, all it takes. The Vector pushes, but allows Rig to move out through the side, drops all the way down and around. Goodness me, he's acrobatic today with it. Rig back downstairs and into a little bit of safety. Don't think there's too many meds on board yet, though.
Rig there with the first aid kit, can get back up to 70. On the other hand, T2K's other player not looking so strong there. Does get the resupply on the third. Level 3 helmet there as well, some gear. That's not going to see you too far with the amount of HP still on board. Alex from HC in Alamo currently. Looks down towards Kengzo from Buradam. So a lot of our big heavy hitters so far already taking a lot of damage. Order, I mean, out almost instantaneously. That's a Maxman curse for you.
That's right. That's what happens when Maxman turns his powerful gaze upon you.
Yeah.
You do wither sometimes. Got to be a little bit stronger. There's Kengzo.
Yeah.
There's my pick going down. It's
Yeah,
like, it's really all to play for on this one.
Be an unsurprising pick coming through. Rig with the 1v3 there. Takes them all down. Really, really well played. And now gets a very nice resupply. Only thing he's massively lacking at the moment is that medical supplies. But with the entirety of Sosnovka practically to his health, other than Alter Ego's Fnatic down towards that southwest side, it's pretty easy for him to pick up a nice amount of kit and get himself over towards that west side of the map.
Alex moving across the ground there in the open. Was pretty close to Kingzo, to be fair. We do call him that from time to time. He's got a lot of power. Power Boy now in a little bit of trouble against Lutz. Pushing forwards with the Bison, but from the grass, Power Boy stays alive. And Nova still have one of their heavy hitters.
I mean, you say Nova has one of their heavy hitters. They're all
one of the four.
Pretty big batters.
One of the four heavy
one
hitters.
Of the four heavy hitters, that's for sure. Potato coming against Alex from IHC, gets the DP out just a little bit more to put it in there, but can't finish it off.
Alex, slick with it around the back of the buggy. Playing a little bit too spiky for the Alter Ego home turf player.
Fortunate stuff there. Just a few bullets had to zip through, maybe the window or the chassis itself, but Teo's out in the open and Alex just had to bide his time. Quick peek, nice and easy. DRS rules.
Ooh.
Easily done there. Vitali's out and down. That's kind of DRS gameplay though. You know, you sit in the top of a house and just wait for someone. They are quite campy as a team, honestly. But I mean, if it works, it works, right? They get to have marshmallows as well, so I can't complain.
That was a cracking pre-fire on that. I really, really enjoyed that as well. He's heard those steps coming through. He's like, well, he's going to run through the door right now, so I'll just start firing before he even has the angle. Very, very well orchestrated there. I feel like in these solo scenarios, the value of nades is going to go up vastly, Blank, because you're just going to be able to completely wipe someone out instantly. Remember, there's no knocks. You can't get rezzed because you are playing solo.
Yeah, it will be one of those cases of just complete unfortunate circumstance of nade comes your way, you had no idea the player knew your position in the meantime, you're done, it's out, Federal looking for some kind of cover there, but Becker from Inco to finish the job. Federal's actually moving out back again. Those nice little Peeper Bison buffs coming through. Makes that thing absolutely deadly.
I think it was the suppressor as well on their Mythic from Alpha 7. Sees Remember crawling past the corner. There's the pin pulled. Remember will hear that. Pushes up to the wall as well. Mythic now position known. Remember hops out the back into the sideline. Opens the door. Spots the ankle of Mythic, but doesn't manage to get one more bullet in that he needed. Mythic not really going to have the opportunity to heal just yet. Spots the player rotating on the outside, and Mythic's out up top. Wants to bank a nade off of the crates, but Remember not going to give him that chance from Wolf. Nade down the stairs, and it backs him off for now. The Chinese team want to keep their player alive, Remember.
Oh, flashbang.
Flashbang around the edge, but Mythic stays tucked in. Wants to spot it with the DPS. Doesn't manage to land that first ka-chunk, but the second is good. Remember falls.
That's deep in the tummy as well. You're not recovering from that one. Surprised it took even just the one pump there.
Ooh,
probably half pump would have done it.
Was that a nade both ways between?
I think it might have been.
And I didn't catch who else it was, but I think they just eliminated each other.
If it was Solke and Kelsey, then yes, because they were both rotating up on the top side of Stalber, and I don't see either of them anymore.
I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah, you know it was. It was S2G and Fireflux coming up in the elimination feed. So that's unfortunate. Neither of them going to get the chance to move further forwards. Revo, though, with his shot to take on Kayovsky from Influence Kemen. Nades going back and forwards. 3 in the pocket for Revo. Only 2 for Kayovsky as he launches another one over towards the tree. Will do a lot of damage there, but Revo stays alive for the moment.
Revo been absolutely killer over on Alpha 7. There it is. Fortunately, Kayovsky's just got his number. Had a ton of grenades still left in the pocket. Kept sending them through. The job was done pretty easily off the back of that. IHC, there were a couple of players over on that western side, but as the circle shifts hard down towards that west. So on the coastal side, a lot of cover to be had, a lot of areas to be played. The yellows down on that west side as well, on the road. That could be a nice place to pick up, but again, these are very shareable spots here in the solos.
38 players remaining now, as Rig did fall on the Sosnovka military base, the last remaining player of T2K, who won out that Scrap on the south will no longer have a member in action. They can turn their focus to the main tournament and watch the rest of this lovely show match.
Action, takes shots up towards Silas. Can't quite get the job done though. Silas thinks to himself to maybe try and pick off some more players. Nova still running, I think, with 3 at this point in time, with Order being the only one to fall so far. 4am with 2 players up towards shooting range, and that box compound, that's MW. As well as one more. Influence Kemin, Karofsky, Little Boy took out Law earlier, so 2 players still going from Influence Kemin. Very strong couple of set of players there.
Action from Stalwart. Very powerful himself. Little Boy there. Close to one of the geeks. Launches the nade. I feel like they know of each other's presence here. Damn rude. Wants to put a nade over. 5 nades as well. I feel like the players have kind of sensed the value of these nades go up in this solo scenario.
Yeah, it's the 1-2 punch, right? I mean, this is the meta getting instantly defined as we go on. This is more of a case of getting those nades. It comes later on in the game. You're able to get those bits of equipment much easier as you're able to journey through.
Oh.
Shotgun, though, from Action. Will take down Mythic. Stepped into the wrong building, buddy.
Shotguns both ways on that engagement. Mythic not given the space, not given that breathing room. Rules on the buggy now. Pushes the players from Alter Ego back, or the player, singular. Yuhai close to King. King spots him first, gets the drop on him, but Yuhai ducks back behind the cover, steps up for a challenge, but King finishes it off.
King from Nova. We used to call this guy the King Cobra because he was one of the ultimate snakes from Nova. Able to do some really good work towards that end game to pick themselves up some additional points towards that top 15, so it was very, very nice for them. It's cool to see him still hanging around with the boys, doing good work here over in the solos. I mean, it's such a big organization at this point in time for Nova. I think it's over $6 million currently earned in prize winnings. They can just afford to keep these players on and grab all the coaches and analysts they need to maybe show up some of those mistakes.
So high value on infrastructure moving into the future of PUBG Mobile esports. Definitely worth investing in, and the value of that will be shown. Alter Ego finding another elimination over onto one more of the geeks. Bonbit moving through as well, northeast side of the next circle, as things start to get a little bit more tight and packed on that west coast.
A lot of players being grouped up together here. I said we see that splashy yellow be taken somewhere else, but on our map feed still on King. Refuses to go down without fight. Little Boy, Svan, so Paraboy, Scry, still quite far outside of the circle. Razy, in fact, up towards the north side of Rozok, so a long way for this guy to go. Good Xiao from 4am, still making his way down from North George. We'll have to pass through Ravenclaw. Well, as one of a player from 4am. But right now, we could quite easily say that Buradam, my name P, got a good spot. This guy really did put some good work in over in the group stage. He made it look good. I think a lot of people focus on Kengzo, but you cannot forget about this guy.
Silas getting shots popped off his way. And trades on these hillsides. I mean, you can't really trade at all. Peaks are going to be few and far between, unless you can isolate one of those angles like Jimmy's managed to find over towards one of the 4am players. WWX laid broad, actually steps in front of the tree, ducks back behind. I think he spotted Jimmy there. Rules, sees up the hill, lays down a player. Not going to be able to find that elimination yet, though.
Jimmy just hiding away. Ravenclaw really good with these off angles. Unfortunately, he is sandwiched between Jimmy as well as MW from 4am. My name P. Silas drops a nade up top side, shuffles around just a little bit, and I would too, but maybe giving away the presence. It's a little bit too much noise.
Beautiful over the top of the hill, but Micah stays alive with it. The UMP manages to find the shots it was looking for, managed to land center of mass there. A low HP bar there, but it's healed it up very, very quickly, and a resupply on the crate.
Really good stuff there from Micah. From very, very far to the team over on Geek Fam, a new addition for them. It's kind of that little bit of extra oomph that they needed on the team alongside with him and Yuhai. made something very special out of Geek Fam from Malaysia. Looking to go a little bit further here in the PMGC. Obviously, this is just a show match, though. $3,000 still. Nice hefty chunk of cash going your way.
That's something I hadn't really thought about. Picked up there, I believe, was a Car 98 from Micah. Very, very powerful are these snipers. One shot and you're down and you're out. It's not even just those headshots that are going to get a knock, take some supplies away from the enemy team. That's just the full elimination right there, one and done.
Yeah, so you best have some of those level 3 helmets still on board because, yeah, there's no knocks. There's no knocks. It's just bish bosh out the lobby. No longer have a chance in hell at picking up that $3,000. Looking down towards Good Xiao, Jimmy. Alongside one another now, so Good Xiao maybe in a more of a position to take this 1v1 with Jimmy. Again, though, with My Name P, Silas. I think that's one other player there from Vampire Esports, Stoned. Player that I want to see do pretty well during this solos.
You did say that. And it looks like maybe what they were talking about over on the analyst desk is coming through. I feel like we're seeing more of the IGLs start to step up in this scenario. I mean, we still got players like Paraboy coming on through, but Jimmy in a phenomenal position on the north side of this and got so much control over this west coast.
Yeah, Jimmy's totally good to go at this point in time. He's in a strong spot, a lot of area to control for himself. He's looking up towards that northeastern side. He can cut off a lot of rotations as they come down. It's going to be difficult for Good Xiao to actually even try and take any pick-off shots at him without alerting the presence towards Action, Delta, My Name P, Ravenclaw. So Jimmy's in a really good spot at the moment. Fortunately, he is on that edge side of the circle. That is going to make life a lot harder later on.
Uh-oh, Delta cut down in his prime as My Name P steps out from the top rope. Nicely found there, demo from IHC into the shack on the north side of the next circle, sailing straight on past. It's WWX from 4 Angry Men. Trying to find some cover, looking for a safe place. Unfortunately, not too many of them exist anymore. Jimmy spots his teammate, Good shout, and will be able to take that one down. WWX also felled by Ravenclaw.
It's me. It's all starting to pop off just a little bit now. 16 players left remaining. Schweppes moves up. Alter Ego still has a player in this one. Fnatic moved all the way down from Sosnovka military base, so this has been one hell of a run for him. To get up towards this side, Schweppes down. That's DRS on the side, Rules there. Takes a cheeky shot towards him, and now Fnatic knows that there's players in the mix. Just had to send the vehicle in.
I don't think he knows that that player specifically went down. I mean, he probably heard the nade go off, so potentially is aware of that and takes the opportunity to get on into the vehicle. Send a lot further central over the bubbles near the swamp. And Fnatic playing this ridgeline. Demo is there as well, a little bit further north. The central compound now starting to pack itself out, starting to fill up those locations. We'll get more and more hotly contested over time. Killer sprays over towards Demo, has to go for the reload and spots him again. This time he tags it, has to leave the vehicle, has to leave the compound as well for Killer. Falls out the back.
Demo not in a great spot anymore, honestly. It's hard for him to get any kind of room to play with. Locked down 100%. Next circle about to pop on our screens. Heads up towards Jimmy. This is great. A great opportunity for him, actually. Opens up a real shot for him in this game. Stoned equally on a bit of high ground down towards that southwest side. It's just close enough for him to start to think about heading over towards Action. It's going to be very difficult for Action to hold the entirety of that compound all by his lonesome.
Killer's smokes keeping him safe from Jimmy right now. You've got to wonder how long that's going to last, and even if you do survive that, are you going to get away from the M249 demos currently lugging around the battlefield? Catch a little bit further north on this as well, and a lot of open ground for these players to cover. Will be difficult. 14 remain.
Solus just keeping it relaxed, calm, down towards that south side. Heads to the vehicle now, might move up towards this loot crate. This gives a real good bit of a defilade to play behind. Stone might see him though. Opts instead to actually just send straight past. So this is up towards My Name P and Ravenclaw with S2G themselves. Rules really take the DRS gameplay to the maximum, actually.
Ooh.
Keeps it nice and steady out on that outer edge.
Catch rolls forwards to the burnt out pickup. The truck providing a little bit of cover. Kayovski actually spots the shots over towards the northeast side as well. Influence coming with their player on the east edge. Jimmy will have to move a little bit further south though. Doesn't want to give up control over Ketch's position. And you can see Ketch dropping out that smoke line to give him time to get up to speed, make it harder for Jimmy to land those sprays.
Yeah, Jimmy's going to struggle just a little bit to find Ketch, but Ketch knows he needs to move. Fully stims up, sends out now. Moving across the battlefield, stops just a little bit short. Respect that from him. He doesn't want to go too far, just get that vehicle in. If he can maintain that cover a little bit longer, means he has that vehicle for the late game.
Spotted on the sidelines. Rules nearly takes down Fnatic, but it's only half HP. Kayovski, in the meantime, can descend the hillside and take the challenge himself. DBS is in hands for both of these players, and a mid-range engagement sees that those bullets not doing too much, but finally, the final chunk lands, and Rules, the points taken away.
Unfortunate there for Alter Ego, but they get fairly far into this lobby. 12th place. Not too shabby at all. Kayovski, though, just too good with it. There with the DBS at long range. Again, Silas, My Name Pete, Ravenclaw, all just holding in this singular spot over on this side of the compound. Much more difficult, as we said earlier, to hold down towards where Action's currently playing, as there's so many points of ingress, so many places where you can start to attack that kind of compound. These areas, much more simple just to hold on to, keep players off the back of them.
Ketch makes the push ahead of Jimmy on the northern side. Gets through the coastline, but the vehicle will be taking pretty hefty damage right now. Stoned on that southwest side that you were talking about, Blank, being a powerful position, now has contest from Ketch.
Yeah, Ketch moves right up towards him. I think that for Stoned, he has all the information he needs. Does need to move up towards that eastern side, so now taking down Ketch becomes pretty high priority on the list of things for him. Sends a nade, but it's very wide here, but I think he's just going to blanket this hillside in them.
Would be wise, just get that ordnance down range. Ketch tagged up now, so location a little bit more zeroed in on. Stoned doesn't need to utilize this final nade yet. He just needs to suppress this ridgeline, but Ketch has 4 to play with, and Stoned is in danger here. A little bit too far to the right to go for the full knock, but will do damage. 16 seconds remaining before the zone closes, and Stoned is right on the back of it. Will need to shift forwards, as will Jimmy on the northern side. Another nade from Ketch down the hill, and doesn't spot Stoned moving out wide, which means that he can probably deduce he's staying nice and tight to the blue. Rules. Shots over towards Kayovski on the eastern side in the meantime.
7 smokes there for Stone, though, so could make his way out of this position, or just at least smokes Ketch off. That's a really smart play, actually. I like this one. Still having the vehicle in the back pocket. This is excellent work. Limits that sight line coming through from Ketch. Moves out the vehicle, tries to get a sneaky spot onto him, but it's even other players that are taking shots. Forced out this way by Stone. It might just be his doom.
Spraying and praying here for King. Not going to be able to tag it. Ketch into the buildings now and into the compound. Stoned moves up on the western edge, but will have to move over that ridge in the meantime. 1 minute and 50 seconds before the zone's fully down, but Action now has a challenge. Will not be able to stand up to it, and Ketch has been rolling through, finding these openings somehow, some way, and making it work. Jimmy now up to battle. Stoned not going to have control of the ridgeline just yet. Jimmy super low, goes for the rundown, but Stoned takes him out of the mix.
That's an aggressive play as well. Moves right up to it towards the bumper to get a better look at the registration plate before popping Jimmy out the front there. Silas, pretty obvious where he's playing. Well, look at that vehicle at least. Ravenclaw from Vampire also still over in this area. My Name P really has not moved from that spot on the staircase.
Rules did know that Kayovski was there a little bit earlier, so we'll have a lot of information to be playing with. Won't have seen Kayovski moving forwards. We'll know pretty much exactly where the player is. Tricky for Kayovski to win this one out, I would say. A lot of difficult terrain ahead of him. This compound has been such a bastion for the players who have been inside it.
Yeah, they've been struggling. They've been struggling if you're on that edge side. You've had to work your way in. I think Stone's done a good job to kind of send people away from this position. It was less about taking down Ketch, but more about making sure he couldn't hold down towards this beach side. We saw how that went for him. Ketch was put in some very dangerous situations. Fortunately for anyone that can hem up against Ketch, They got to find out the hard way just how clutch this man is when it comes to these really, really tight moments. He's able to get out of them pretty sneakily. Does have that get out of jail free card a lot of times.
Stoned in the buildings on the western side, right on the edge. Next circle will dictate a lot of the pace, I would say, of this next phase. North or south, or is it going to go away from the compounds entirely? Really going to have to choose it carefully. And instead, it's fairly dead center there, Blank.
That is fairly dead center. And the devs are saying the circle's going to come into this. And I would agree. You get these kind of yellows, you get these positions. My name P, Silas, Ravenclaw from about, well, let's say, 2 circles ago were kind of destined to be at this point in the game, so far through. And I'm named Pete, trying to send these nades over towards Ravenclaw. Hard to thread this one, but if he does, Ravenclaw's going to have to be careful. Does move out. It's so close as well. You can see with the line there.
Yeah.
The question is, how many nades does my name P still have, and how useful is it trying to thread this through?
2 more nades in the back pocket. Did that go through? Oh no, it just
on
bounced
the
off
ledge.
there. I thought that one had managed the post, but not quite. Stoned now with another move to make. Drops a smoke on the corner, isolating the sightlines from that northern side of the compound. Hops in the vehicle and wants to roll forwards quickly. I mean, will probably be very valuable there. Players to worry about. Silas ready and waiting. Right on this door frame with a micro Uzi and challenge, and Solus has suppression as well. Stone's DBS are on the edge, but they're not landing finally. Able to get the shots in, and Stoned now has more to worry about. The players to his south left in the dust, and Stoned has been moving through really effectively. Naded through the window from my name P, and we will find out just how noisy the neighbors can be.
Molotov tries to send it through in towards the smoke to trick Stone, maybe walking out in towards it to get away from another nade. Stoned is now in a pretty difficult position, though he does have a lot of stims to play around with, get himself back up to full HP. That is just one of those engagements where, yes, both DBSs aren't hitting, but again, it's more about dodging the DBS, and whatever gets the work done in the end is what's necessary.
Oh, Kayovsky spotted. Rules was spotted as well in the grass, but had to win out that trade. My name P doesn't want the shots this time.
Yeah. I said DRS a little bit campy, but now they've got full on feral. They've gone right into the wilderness, taking it to the enemy team, just hiding in the old bushes, in the trees, taking the shots where they can, laying those traps, and Kowski, he rocked right into one. I almost became Bugs Bunny there for a second.
What's up, though? 2 players from Fireflux. Playing close to each other. Ketch and Solus. Ketch has been a little bit more of a star in this game so far. See if Solus can ruin his teammate's day. Ruin the chance of that 3K.
Again, right now, Vampire have the best chance alongside with Fireflux with 2 players, Solus and Ketch. I do wonder how well these 2 players know one another. Yeah, probably not well at all. That was a nade from Ketch. Oh, it's going 1-to-1 here. So it's like, let me tell you something. It's me. It's me, your brother.
But we are friends. No, don't do it.
Ketch has just got like the blood rage on right now. The fury. He's not seeing straight. He doesn't see teammates anymore. He just sees bodies to put in the ground. Soulless. Already lacking a soul. To be honest, probably best if he wasn't a grave at this point in time, thinks Ketch.
Ketch has the DBS on the corner, but Solus just swings for him. Instantly hits the deck. 5 players now remaining blank. My name P, hiding out in the building for so long successfully. Vampire with the main number of players. 2 still alive. You're talking about their chances there. Rules has to make this cross now, and My name P shuts the door. Doesn't want to remain exposed for too long. Looks like Ravenclaw might be out of meds as well.
Yeah, remain in this area, and this is the problem with sticking in one spot for too long, is that you just do not get the resupplies you need. Kind of fitting, I guess, that Solus did take down Ketch. I mean, you don't have a soul. Kind of easy to take down your brother in that sense. My name P, though, with the UMP, realizes that he needs to move a little bit further out. I've got to say that this PMGC skin is absolutely gorgeous this year. Definitely on the Buddha hype, put it that way.
Well, My name P on that Buddha hype. right now. 4 players remaining, 2 of them from Vampire. Fireflux, Solus, put it on My Name P. Trying to stick it out. Stoned seems to have the bead on My Name P. Hits the deck for the drop shot, but the nade doesn't land either. And in comes the push as well. Ankle sweeper, maybe. Has to swap the weapons. Hang on a minute. What is going on? Stoned just doesn't spot him, I suppose, through the smoke. It's difficult to see. A sliver of HP keeps him alive, but the DPS around the corner gives him a shout in the fight. But no, My Name P finally up and into the action. Will take down one of the Vampire players. Now it's 1 versus 1 versus 1. Ravenclaw the last for Vampire.
It looked like the shimmy DBS was not working out that time, just from side to side. Looked like he was trying to go for the do-si-do, but that does not bring the dough home in that 3K. Fireflux looking to take it all the way here with Solus, looking mighty strong in a decent position on the edge, but this is the final zone. It will continue to move in. Ravenclaw, oh, he's left this medkit to the last moment. The surprises as he runs out, looks towards My Name P, looking for that revenge.
Nade from Ravenclaw being pulled now. No utility left at all for My Name P. No backpack either. Gonna go bear into this one. Solus spots Ravenclaw crawling up, sees him hit the deck, and there's no way Ravenclaw gets away from this one. Center of the circle needs to be occupied now, and My Name P will be able to do so. Put it down with their chance here. Solus as well, up the top row. Right on the edge of the blue zone, and My Name P is just moving in with this circle. Solus waiting, knows exactly where the player's going to be coming from. And waiting for this crawl forwards. All it's going to take is 1 mag on either side. Solus breaks out wide, takes the initiative this time, plays on the rock, very, very central now. My Name P, no nades for Solus either. Armor looking fine for this 1v1, and now up he goes, Solus for the challenge! And it's Fireflux's player, Solus, took down his teammate and stands tall.
I mean, that's absolutely what you want to see. We heard what Solcase said. You don't mess with fire, even if you're on the own team there. And Fireflux will take home the first show match there with Solus taking back the 3K. Happy days for them. But honestly, we kind of saw some of the big teams that we expected to see towards those 1v1 top positions. It was kind of weird for me. I thought that, this would be all topsy-turvy. But no, we did see some of the teams that everyone talked about, the guys on the desk had talked about. They were towards the top. Maybe not Max, because he talked about order and he went down almost instantaneously. But that's just life. That's how these things happen.
Well, that's true as well. I mean, I had Kengzo go down very early in that engagement as well. So many of the players that we might have expected to get a little bit later in might have failed. But maybe they were more concerned about preparing for the games to come.
Maybe. But if you put it around, you're My Name P. You try and take it all the way. But if you Fireflux, they came here to play, man. They came here to play. They came here to win. They'll take the show match and everything else. We'll see if they can get it done.
Yeah, hopefully they can.
Whoa.
Everyone's very excited here in Jakarta. We're going into this game thinking, who's going to have that power. I feel like it was a very, very different type of scenario to what we're going to be seeing for the rest of the day. It's a really good little amuse-bouche, as Max would say, for the rest of the day. You would say that, Max. Max is giving me the thumbs up. He would say that. That is, in fact, a word, and, well, 2 words that he would say.
Okay, what does it mean? Because you've not given any context.
Amuse-bouche. It's like an hors d'oeuvre.
Max is doing this,
right?
So
it's like an hors d'oeuvre.
Kind of little
it's an hors d'oeuvre. I'm saying
on.
French words to explain French words.
Good, you are. That's very unhelpful.
Take a look at that flag flying across the top of the crowd there. Pride for Indo coming on through. Lovely to see.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was people trying to escape the flag at first, but then I realized that they're carrying it across. I thought they were just like capturing people. But no, that is a beautiful Indonesian flag. Happy days, good stuff. Honestly, when the army came in for Alter Ego, I was very proud. I mean, they picked their moment too. They were like, oh, you think everyone's in? No, we still have the big amount of support to bring.
There certainly is plenty of support, not only for the Indonesian teams, but for a lot of the other teams as well. But it is their home turf, and you've got to love it. You've got to love that show of pride. As they gather the flag up, they dragged it all the way across that section of seats. Maybe other audience members will have their turn in a bit. We'll have to wait and see. Hang on a minute. Are they going back?
I'd like a turn. I'm quite cold, actually.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is a little bit chilly. We're up in an air-conditioned area.
Yeah, I mean, Falax gets goosebumps. I get the goosebumps because I'm cold. Maybe that's the reason. Maybe he wasn't nervous. But we're going to head to an interview over on the stage desk with Barney.
Sensational. They are joined on the main stage by Solus and Firefox. Congratulations for taking home that victory for the show match. I have to ask you, with regards to the rest of the matches today, has that boosted your confidence?
Tebrik ediyorum gösterdiğin performans açısından. Bu maç senin performansını ve özgüvenini yükseltti mi? Ne düşünüyorsun?
Asıl maçlardan önce şov maçları tabii ki de performansımı büyük ölçüde etkiledi. Bundan sonraki maçlara büyük katkıda bulunacağını düşünüyorum oynadığım maçın.
Of course, this match definitely boost my confidence, and I hope that it will also help me to show better performance during the other next match.
Oh, oke. Ini dia teman-teman semuanya, Soulless dari Fireflux yang sudah memenangkan solo match barusan, yang dimana sudah menyampaikan kalau memang solo match barusan ini membuat tingkat kepercayaan diri dari Soulless ini meningkat dan pastinya sudah bisa memberikan performance yang terbaik dan pastinya Soulless sendiri senang sekali akan hal tersebut.
Solus, sana sormak istediğim önemli bir soru var, merak ettiğim bir konu var. Hangi oyuncuyu kendin için büyük bir tehdit olarak görüyorsun şov maçları da başlarken?
Öncelikle birinci tehdit kendi takım oyuncum Catch. İkinci tehdit de Order.
First of all, our team player Catch is the big threat for me. As a second threat is the Order.
Oh, oke. Jadi Order dan juga Catch sendiri. Bahkan dari tim matchnya sendiri yang sebenarnya adalah salah satu, dua sebenarnya untuk kali ini, player yang agak ngeribetin sih di match barusan.
We have your first match of the grand finals. Okay, I just want you to let us know, let everyone here in this arena know, and everyone at home, what is your team's biggest strength going into today?
Birazdan ilk maçlara başlamak üzereyiz. Maçlara başlamadan önce sormak istediğim bir var. Sizin takımınızın en güçlü yönü nedir?
Sürekli birlik içinde olmamız. Hem oyun hem oyun dışı olsun. Sürekli birlik içinde olmamız ve normal bir aileden hiçbir farkımızın olmaması.
Our biggest advantage is actually we are the big family and we are always together and always support each other.
Oh, oke. Jadi sebenarnya kekuatan terbesar dari tim FF ini atau Fireflux ini sendiri adalah kekeluargaan mereka. Karena mereka suka bareng-bareng, ya sama lah ya kayak kita. Para Indonesia juga kekeluarganya kental banget gitu.
Well, Solus, thank you so much for joining us here on the main stage for your post-match interview, and best of luck in the rest of the day to you and to your team. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I love their energy, Banks, and that sure was a great match, wasn't it, Banks?
It really was. Donna, you know what? That match and that performance has set the bar for the skill level that we are all going to expect now for the rest of the tournament. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the main stage the Vice Secretary General of Indonesian Esports Federation, Dr. IGM Kartakajaya, SEMMMA.
Guys, we're back, in case we really are. Thank you so much to, Banks and Donna Vizquel for that beautiful interview. And if that isn't a storyline that we almost kind of touched on, because Solus, he took down Catched just before entering the top 5, and then he took it home as well. Now that is something they obviously now in hindsight probably are celebrating, but it could have gone differently, you know?
I did like what John and Black was saying during that game too, is like, trying to make signals, almost smoke signals with the smoke. It's like, it's me you're shooting out right now, but it's just good fun, and it seemed like they were just having some fun after the game, and man, it's just like, just a little bit of an avant-bouche, we can also say that works too, guys, before these first matches, and it's been a good start to the day.
Stop saying all these French words. There's only one French word I know, and I cannot say it, Max.
Definitely don't want to.
I do want to touch on something as well. That was really interesting because we had 2 Vampire players in the top 4, and none of them made it into the top 2. Look, both went out almost immediately afterwards, which is quite the bummer, I can imagine.
Yeah. With that, let me take on that real quick. You pointed it out too. When there was a Final 4, there was one player that just wasn't moving. He was just waiting patiently, and that was Ravenclaw. And he decided to, I think we heard Blank say it too, that he decided until the last minute to just get that last heal. I wish he would have rotated a little bit early, but at the end of the day, it is a show match.
And I do have to say, one player that really impressed us, despite not taking the win in that game, it was Rules.
Yes.
From DRS. He had, what, like six eliminations?
Six eliminations.
And he's been constantly like moving about, playing different ridge lines, third-partying a few fights here and there. Like, it's not easy in that kind of situation. If you were a player that was on the East, you're dead.
yeah, he was playing the blue zone. He was kind of just moving along with it, and it ended up working out for him. 6 elims. That's a great way to start the day.
I do have to say, there was one frag where I was particularly impressed because he had to cross the street on towards the compound that we saw in the end, and he was on the east side of it. And he took, I don't know who it was, but he took one of the players down that was having a car and like a smoke in order to cover himself from the compound, and that was the most important fact, the one I was most impressed with, because that was a really hard aim fight to take. And he actually made it work. That was the point where I thought, okay, this play could actually, gain him some actual confidence in terms of bringing that energy over into PMGC final games.
Yeah, ultimately he just wasn't blessed by the sound.
Yeah, he wasn't.
I like you made like said the most basic like call out stuff. I think the circle's going to be pretty important, and
I didn't say that.
I'm just making fun.
Just like you didn't pick order either. I got you, baby. Who was it that you picked?
I picked Kengzo.
That's who I thought. Okay, so that means you're not cursing people right away. Nice.
He did.
Who did?
Yes, I actually did. I actually kind of did. I picked Paraboy. Yeah, let's not talk about that. Actually, I expect King. I think King was in really late.
Yeah,
and
him and Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy had a pretty good position as well. I actually expected them to do way better.
I can actually give you my pick, since it is after the game. Do you want to take a guess?
I don't want to. No, I don't know.
It's not who you think it is.
Who is it?
I actually had Revo from Alpha 7.
When did you?
I had an actual pick.
Chance,
I
wasn't pick it.
I wasn't just waiting to see who was gonna win. I was like, let's see how he does.
You know what? My respect for you just a little bit higher, just a tad. Yeah.
Yes.
Interesting things. He was saying in the interview, and we have to come back to Solus to some degree because I thought that was really interesting. I mean, Banks asked him straight away. He pinpointed that question pretty directly. He said, "Is that going to give you confidence in terms of going into the next games?" And we were talking earlier if that game is even going to be played seriously to some degree. Actually, do they actually care in terms of are they still inside the next games in terms of what are they focusing on? And I felt like Solus. I felt like he was focused on that game, and something like that. Even though he didn't have the most amount of kills, and I think Rules maybe in terms of confidence he's got kind of, maybe an even bigger boost of confidence. But I do think that is going to make a difference.
I think it somewhat set the tone in terms of micro because, once again, players trying to get heated up, ready for the first match, like the first real game that we're going to have with teams. And I think it just set the tone of okay, this is the kind of level we're going to be expecting if we're taking 1v1 scenarios and such. So yeah, it was a good little start. And Solus, I mean, he was looking really just. I was like, oh man, this guy's got presence on the stage right now, and he did great in that first game.
In a way, the thing that they might have taken very serious was those 1v1s when it came down to it, right? They are going to be able to get that information. If for some reason we do end up seeing some of those 1v1s, they're going to just reflect a little bit more on this show match. Even though it was a show match, they didn't want to die. They didn't want to get eliminated, so they're going to be like, okay, earlier I threw a smoke there and he decided to go a different way. Earlier I threw a molly there and he reacted this certain way. So who knows, maybe it'll come to play, but I really doubted that a lot of the players were taking it serious.
No, I don't. Yeah,
just
maybe not like 100% series, not like a PMGC
Yeah.
Grand Final kind of series, but it was interesting either way. Well, while we're already on the topic of Fireflags, because when I met them, I was tapping on Sokai's shoulder and I was like, hey, I'm here. And I was saying him, PMGC? I was tapping his one, because at that point, I was still very much sure that Fireflags had one of the best chances overall in taking PMGC. Now that tournament, they weren't exactly super strong, but either way, that particular team, how do you rate their chances? Let's just break it down, right? Fireflags, what are their chances for you and for you?
I would say there's a very big chance they'll be in the top 5. Looking at
top 5?
How this year's been going so far for Turkey as a whole. Oh, you think that's too much?
Okay,
come on.
Yeah, keep going.
I'm saying that we got Turkish casters right next door. I do not want to get in trouble. But I think top 5 is. No, you don't think so?
Now that you say that, I might have to change.
Your top 3 is all Brazilian teams. I get it.
No,
okay?
it's
Give
not.
chances
It's
to
not.
other regions, 7.
It's
Please.
not. I see like a top 7.
I wonder why. Wow, what a weird number.
Not because of that. I feel like they can possibly get to that top 5, but I don't know. I'm just not sold on it. That's the main thing. I'm not just sold on it. We have seen them being able to clutch up in certain instances. We have seen them being able to do certain things differently, right? We talk about the clutch factor as we see the fans getting super hype in the back, but I'm just not sold on a top 5 situation out of them.
Then
Yeah,
neither,
this sounds
apparently. Straight on complaints, but
they're agreeing with me.
The thing is, SGG can make it happen to you. They've already been having players that can play at this stage.
Yes.
So you know Turkey, once again, a strong region.
Yeah.
Could be potentially trying to take it away from Nova Esports.
See, I have SGG actually on top 5.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You know what? At least you got one of the Turkish teams, so I respect that.
Yeah.
So what's it with you in SCG then? Because you said Calcy, he impressed you so much throughout not only PMGC, but throughout the whole year. Is that something you would maybe put in front of Fireflux right now?
I do think SGG could make it too. The thing is, I think only one of the 2 Turkish teams. Which one is it going to be? I have no idea as of right now, but I do think Turkey has what it takes to have at least one of the teams to make it in the top 5. A win could be possible too, but the thing is, they are a team that if they are on a good day, on a good day, they're high up there. They can get like 3 wins in a row. It could happen, but they need to be in that top tier performance.
This is your only chance today. You can change your pick for that top 5 for the Turkish team. Would you want it to be S2G or would you want it to be Fireflux?
Because you're going for SGG.
No. Don't factor mine. Don't factor mine. It's purely on you.
I commit to Fireflux. Okay, there you go. There you go. Now you got
Respected.
SGG. We got that competition.
Yeah, there you go. All right.
Interesting. Very interesting, because I would have said S2G now as well. But then again, I have sympathies for it's hard because of the sympathies thing. They always play some part, some role into it. Don't tell me your sympathies don't play into your Brazil picks.
Yeah, they definitely do.
I was thinking about it.
I was thinking about something completely different. I was actually thinking about Jimmy, the way he played that show match. He was just like cool, calm, collected, just usual Jimmy.
On the beach?
Just chilling.
Good time.
But he was actually putting himself in great situations, and then the circle just ended up not being in his favor. He ended up sending it, and that's something that he's not used to doing by himself. But if we're going back to what you were saying earlier, if anybody taking it serious, you could tell that Jimmy was like, I really want to win this.
Yeah, I mean, you said it right. IGL's good, no?
Yeah.
Try and get himself in good positions. And I was impressed that IGL's made it that far. So you know what?
It was.
You were good on that call. And also the circle was important.
If it would have had at least a little bit of cover, just a little bit of cover, I think it would have ended up top 3.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate position. But the circle, we know, doesn't happen very often. If we have that circle happen again during this tournament, you'll be like, oh, wait, this happened. Maybe we can make things work a little bit. But yeah, good start. And man, the hype is just insane. I just can't wait.
It's
for the
crazy.
game. It's...
I still have goosebumps. Like, literally, look at this.
No,
I
what did
still
you say?
have goosebumps.
You had what? Goosebumps? I think you had
Goosebumps. Did I actually say goosebumps? Oh my goodness.
I wonder if they gave that,
No,
that,
but
that
seriously.
big flag over to Blank. He was cold. I think you need to give it to
Was
him.
he?
Did they give it to him? Oh, he's still cold over there. Someone give him a flag, please.
I love it.
I
When we
love
saw
the
the drums
energy.
coming in, that was like the icing on the cake. All the players coming in, all the audience members coming in, everyone's just trying to support their teams, but then the drummers and then the army. Oh, honestly, I'm just blown away. Touching, while we still have the time, touching on a topic while we're already at the topic, which is Nova, right? These guys, at this point, they must almost feel comfortable winning championships, like it's nothing. Do you think that is an advantage, or do you think they still feel like they have not won a championship at all when they enter the stage? What do you think their mindset is going to be? Because you were talking to Parable earlier. You probably know him to some degree personally as well. Is that something that affects him?
They're friends, yeah.
They are.
This is bro.
It works out somehow, even though I don't speak Chinese. But hey, translate tools are amazing. Anyways, what I was gonna say in regards to Noah is that I do feel like they come in with a chip on their shoulder every single time. They want to get the win. They kind of forget about that. It doesn't really matter. I mean, PMGC, yeah, that was last year, right? They are back-to-back champions, but that's gonna be not in the back of their minds. Now they're truly here in Jakarta. They're going to be looking to make that back-to-back, win 3 times in a row, which is going to be absolutely insane if they are going to be able to do that. I feel like they are going to put themselves in certain situations with what I was saying with Paraboy. I mean, he wants to, in a way, challenge himself a little bit more by deciding to change out his layout, see if that's going to help him out in a big way. It could hinder his performance, or we could see a completely different Paraboy, but it just goes to show that he's trying to try different things to keep on improving. and that's what you want to see out of a team that's at the top.
The one thing I love about Nova, really, and I don't know if you agree potentially on this one, Seven, is that I have the impression nothing gets to them. Like, it doesn't matter what they did last year, it doesn't matter what they did the year before that, it doesn't matter how they performed in EEL. They're only focused on the exact moment, like in front of them right now. Every single game is one opportunity to get those points, to perform, to get that chicken dinner. That's what I love about this team so far. And, you know, the roster's already proven themselves to be so good, but even if they need to make changes, they can make changes in the snap of a finger, just like that. And that is how they've been able to be twice in a row world champions in PUBG Mobile esports. And so far, it hasn't changed too much. There's a chance they could really, big chance even, to make it happen again here.
People are always trying to catch up to them. I mean, for the longest time, it was always Nova, right? But yeah, Paraboy, we talked about them, but then they also have players that was able to back them up. When we talked about some of the other teams, it was either just 1 or 2 players. It was never 4 players overall like it was for Nova. Now we're starting to see some of the other teams starting to get full for players that can actually frag out, that can actually perform really, really well. So we can see the teams from different regions and how it's starting to slowly catch up to Nova. But Nova, I feel like they're just going to be a completely different animal. It comes down to how they're going to be starting off day 1, right? And this is something that we got a chance to talk about too. And we have seen it in the previous as well from viewers. They tend to see Nova maybe start a little bit slow in day 1, and they're like, oh, Nova's not the same as they were last year. They're not going to be able to win this. And then all of a sudden, Nova shows up day 2 and just decides to shut up everybody. So, and I feel like if for some reason Nova has a great performance here on day 1, some of the other teams are not going to be able to afford to even have a bad game.
It's pretty interesting. We saw Nova having kind of a slow start here in the PMGZ group stage as well. I remember reading some of the comments after the first game day, after the first 5-6 games we've played, and even going into the second day, some of the people said, well, Nova, no, I think, you know, originally starting, I had them in my favorites, but then, you know, they've kind of gone away.
They
like,
fell off.
Just 5 games. That was like, okay, that is interesting. They fell off. Did
I was imitating the comments.
I know.
I didn't say it.
I
did not say that.
I totally believe you. Don't roast him. Don't roast him. He's innocent.
PMGC.
He is innocent. But yeah, so I was reading that and I was so starstruck.
Gonna get me in trouble.
You said it
by these comments.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, right, is that every single time, like, the audience are going to be like, well, this one bad day, okay, oh, this team fell off. Not the case. The thing is, Nova, once again, and we keep saying that about this team, when it truly matters, that's when they're going to put their foot down and say, now we're not messing around anymore, and that's when they start really getting the points. What was in the last day of Group Green? I think they got themselves a second place, a chicken dinner, another chicken dinner, all in a row, back to back to back. That is what they can do when they're in like a little bit of a bad spot. They can just put themselves back in a comfortable position.
And I'm really big on momentum, and I feel like Nova is one of those teams that can definitely carry that momentum, right? And if we're talking about momentum, you know I gotta talk about Alpha 7. I had to say it because this is a team that definitely relies a lot of momentum. If they start slow, it's gonna be a horrible, horrible day for them. This is a team that needs to at least have a top 5 situation for them to feel confident, and I know they want to win because I was able to talk with Rio, I was able to talk with all the players, and they said, I told them, I was like, oh, I think you guys can definitely finish top 3. They looked at me, and I thought I was about to get beat up. They were like, no, number 1. I was like, okay, do you?
It is interesting. It is interesting. I just want to... I know we've said it a million times, but just look at this. I think they have formed an area now, an area of support. Can you see this? I think you can see on the camera as well. Right?
In one area.
They have got flags as well now. What is coming next? This is sensational, honestly.
They're infiltrating.
Oh my goodness, they are dancing and jumping. If you're here, you would feel the ground shaking, literally shaking. It is crazy. It is absolutely absurd. Well, we will be heading down to the stage very soon. I do want to ask you one final question. And just straight up like that. I mean, your answer is already kind of done. I mean, for what? We'll see. Is Nova gonna pick up the 3rd championship? Oh no.
It would be such a good storyline, yes.
We will be.
Hello, PUBG Mobile fans in Indonesia and in the world. My name is James Yang, Director of PUBG Mobile Global Esports. I'm here today to share exciting news about our esports plans for 2023. As a summary, 2022 has been a milestone year for PUBG Mobile Esports. We hosted 13 PMPLs in 5 regions with 343 teams and more than 2,000 players. A record-breaking 600,000 teams registered for 2022 PUBG Mobile Club Open. Also, with the love and support of our fans and the hard working of our pro players, we won Esports Mobile Game of the Year at 2022 Esports Award. Massive thanks to everyone. Moving on to 2023, I'm happy to share we are making a number of upgrades to PUBG Mobile Pro League. Firstly, PMPL Malaysia, Singapore, Philippines will become PMPL Malaysia. Also, we are introducing PMPL Southeast Asia wildcard, which will cover the Philippines, Myanmar, Cambodia, and Singapore region. This will provide more pro-level options for those teams in South Asia regions. Secondly, PUBG Mobile is committed to providing more semi-pro and amateur promotion opportunities than ever before. The reintroduced PMPL qualifiers will act as a gateway to those teams for PMPL in 2024. Teams will gain access to PMPL qualifiers by competing in PUBG Mobile National Championship, PUBG Mobile Club Open, and authorized third-party tournaments. One of our key aims in 2023 is to foster more exciting region vs region rivalries. After the success of our first PUBG Mobile regional clash in 2022, we will introduce more PMRC tournaments in this year. We are also making the changes to the rules to make improving more player experience. We will be transiting to 10-point system across all tournaments to make the games more exciting and competitive. In 2023, fans can see PUBG Mobile Esports in represented and 32 Southeast Asia games taking place in May in Cambodia, and the 19th Asian Games hosted in Hangzhou, China, starting in September. It's an honor to be recognized by two major sporting bodies. PUBG Mobile Esports will once again hold two global tournaments in 2023. The PUBG Mobile World Invitational in Riyadh in July, and the PUBG Mobile Global Championship, which I am pleased to announce will be starting in November, and the grand finals will be held in Turkey for the first time. Thank you to everyone for being tuned in. And we are so much excited about what is to come in 2023. So now, let's get back to all the action to 2022 PMGC Grand Finals! Terima kasih!
And welcome back to the desk. That is some exciting news, if I may say so. Not only do we have two big international sports events in which we will see PUBG Mobile, the SEA Games, and obviously the 19th Asian Games, but we will have the PMGC in Turkey. Wow, and it's starting in November as well, so we get to see that even earlier.
Yeah, I mean, you know when James Young is here, you know you're going to have some good news, and that is some great news, Seven. In Turkey, we're going to have it over in... I was going to say, you're not over in Europe. I'm in Europe. I'm really happy about this. You'll have to travel a little bit.
Hopefully I'll be there. Hopefully, I think we'll be there again. I mean, I'm super excited that it is going to be there. I'm super excited that we are going to be having the grand finals in December as well. It's not going to be given a long break for the players. I think that's going to be mixing it up. And I mean, we saw the 10-point system announcement too. We saw the regional clashes, which we were talking about it. Nothing has been announced. But Maxman and I were just dreaming about Americas versus Europe. It would be just such an amazing clash.
It will be rough to make it happen, but if it does happen, I would say that would be the best rivalry.
Yes.
Americas versus Europe, you just can't beat that.
Americas would
meant
definitely
to
win. Americas would win.
No.
I'm sorry, somebody from your...
It could become the new classic. It could become the new classic. Before we get into the matches, though, we want to quickly keep you updated on everything that is going on over the next 3 days. The schedule is as follows. Today, starting today, in just a couple of minutes, actually, we will see the first game, and then 5 more. 6 matches today, 6 matches tomorrow, and another 6 matches on January the 8th. So for the next 3 days, stay tuned. Remember to follow your socials. Remember to tune in live every single day until January 8th, because you will not be... Yeah, you're not disappointed. You just completed my sentence. That's perfect, actually. You will not be disappointed. We will be having the point system. What you just saw will be for next year. So we will be having the normal point system that we just saw throughout last year. 15, 12, 10 in the first 3 places. And obviously 1 additional point for eliminations.
Exactly, elimination is going to be pretty important going into it, but also we've got to keep in mind, Seven, this is going to be something that impacts it. The circle settings are the same as the league stage. No heal strat is going to happen here.
Yeah, and I absolutely love that because I never liked when that happened, okay? It was always one of my less favorable things when we went to Sandhawk, so I'm glad that's not going to be the case, and we're seeing how those teams were able to qualify here. You can see the last chance. I mean, they had it the worst, but that's where 2 of the Brazilian teams came out of, and we're seeing IHC Esports there as well, DRS Gaming. And then when we go to the special invites, Wolf Esports and Alter Ego, I feel like those are the biggest question marks here for this Grand Finals. How are they going to be able to perform since they haven't really gotten a chance to really go up against these teams?
And there we have it. We will be starting off with Erangel. The competitive rotation will be as follows.
Yeah, of course, going to be starting things off with Erangel followed up with Miramar, Sanok, Erangel once again, Miramar, and then Erangel. 3 Erangels. If you can perform well on that Battlegrounds here, Seven, that is going to be your way to stand out on the rankings.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just hyped up because we saw Sandhawk there, and also the crowd is getting me hyped up. We've been talking about it for a minute, too. But you mentioned it perfectly. I feel like this teams definitely need to narrow down their performances in Erangel when it comes out to the most. And if for some reason, something that we have seen happen over and over again, if they do start bad in those 2 first matches, which is Erangel and Miramar, I hope whatever team it is, uses Sandhawk to kind of just bring it back. And we have seen teams do that before.
Exactly. I mean, there's so many things to take into account, but also we're just, I think, just a few minutes away now from jumping into our very first game. Thing is, it's a 3-day event. There are not many games that are going to be happening here. You're never going to be safe. Do not throw a game away. Every point is going to count here.
And there we have it. We have teams to watch from both of you guys. You already put them in there. Maxman has Nova, Godlike Stalwarts, and Geek. Can't explain, Max.
I mean, Stalwart makes sense, Nova makes sense too, but also Geek Fam, once again, I think one of the biggest surprises in how dominant they were in the league stage. If we see that kind of performance in the finals, I can tell you, Seven, I would like to see if they can try and be in that top 3, maybe take home a trophy.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? I got Alpha 7 actually in the top 3 situation. I don't have them winning the tournament, but I am going to be looking forward to see how they start off the day with Nova. I mean, we talked about it earlier. Can they actually just show up and showcase why they are the back-to-back Grand Finals champions for PMGC? And then I have none other than Alter Ego, because I feel like it's just such a big question mark. This is a team that can definitely end up surprising a lot of people. We see the energy, and you know that just as much as we are feeding off that energy, the players are going to be feeding off that energy as well. The one big question mark that I do have with Alter Ego is their previous performances haven't really been that well, so we'll have to wait and see how they're going to be performing here on the first game.
And with that being said, we will be heading over to John Allen and Blank. Take it away, boys, and have fun with the match.
Thank you very much. We are indeed going to have plenty of fun today. We've got 6 matches for these teams to get their teeth stuck into to kick things off the first third of the games.
Yeah, there's going to be a fair few matches we've got on the cards today. Obviously, we've done one of them, the show match, and then obviously we've got all these really cool announcements, you know, with Turkey as well being the next. Oh, we're already confirmed that in, locked that in. That's in the calendars now, which is good news. Obviously, with the new points change as well, going down to 10 for that chicken dinner and getting much less points, down to even 0 towards the bottom end of those placements, which means that eliminations are going to become much more important next year. You're going to have to be certainly a competitive team. You can't just send towards that center anymore. That isn't the case where you just play for those 12, 13 points towards that top side of the lobby. It's just an impossibility now. So this is going to really, really put a massive change on the terms of performance of a lot of these teams. However, we will be getting into our first, technically our first game of PMGC 2022 Grand Finals very, very shortly. Already you can see just the masses of support that is out right now for Alter Ego. By the way, that back there, that little sign, that wasn't put up by us. That's the fans. They are very efficient in creating a nice little zone for those guys to stay in, which is beautiful stuff.
They bring their own. They bring their on signage. It's brilliant. You love to see it.
Yeah,
Look
they
at the
did
players.
some redecoration quite quickly.
Oh, hang on a minute. No. we need to sort this out. Come on. Bring in the signs. And they did. Fantastic support being shown for the players in this tournament. You can see them starting to focus in now, Blank. They are very much getting in the zone at this stage. Look at that. Barely moving a muscle apart from those hands.
Yeah, IHC definitely looks there to be very serious. Again, for Alter Ego, I think we've met the coach now a few times now, Denny. He's a really great guy, actually, very nice. I think that the major thing that he did for me earlier was he showed me around because I didn't know where I was going. So he was like, I'm very good with directions. And I was like, thank you. And now I've not got lost once. However, I'm sure he's also a very good coach as well. So we're heading into the first game right now, John.
Match number 1 of the PMGC 2022 here in Jakarta. Erangel, the first match as it always is, Blank. We will be getting on with the plane. This time, it's headed from the west side down towards the Snovka military base. It's cutting a little bit low on the island, so there's northern parts of the map going to be a little bit less accessible.
Yeah, a bit more difficult to head up towards Stalba. Maybe Yaz is still accessible, but this does mean maybe fighting for vehicles on that eastern side, which becomes quite difficult, becomes a little bit of an issue, a bit of a problem for some of these teams. Do you want to cross those paths on that side? Do you want that bad luck that could bring? Also on the east, some players, some teams heading out very, very early over towards the west here. You got Demo from IHC setting up towards South George. T2K is already dropping out. Nova looks like they're heading up towards Gatka at the moment. And Vampire down towards Primos, a very typical spot for them.
We did see Nova have a little bit of trouble with Gatka during their gameplay in the group stages. There was another team that was dropping down there with them, but it looks like they managed to isolate that this time around. T2K going a little bit further on. Silas maybe a little bit too close to comfort. Hot drop on a vehicle potentially, but S2G may be looking to lose a player. And this early in the game would be far from ideal. S2G a little bit further east for the rest of them on this engagement. IHC dropped all the way to the west on the coast, grab 2 vehicles, will be able to tuck themselves nice and healthy. The first circle pops. It's fairly central, centered on Potato Hill.
This is a nice circle as well, considering you don't have to move too far towards that northern side. This plane path doesn't really cause too much ruckus, maybe in the sense that obviously getting towards that top side of the map and getting some of those positions is quite rough. I think that what you're looking at the moment, though, is some of these teams quickly sending out. Obviously, IHC sent out early over towards that western side. They've moved up towards shooting range, up towards South George at the moment. But it is Alter Ego who takes school on that middle edge, like donut side of this circle, which is great to see. This is going to keep them nice and safe, nice and healthy throughout the rest of this game.
You're talking about how maybe next year we're going to see less teams be able to send very, very central, but we're not in that point system yet, right? We are still on this 15-point, we're still on that 15-point chicken dinner. And of course, if you want to be grabbing some of the loot that I'm sure some of these players will be going for, the 2022 PMGC Special Crate is on offer, but it's only there for a limited time, so make sure you are checking it out.
Absolutely. Absolutely drips out in this PMGC. So many cool stuff to grab, so many cool things to pick up. It's beautiful stuff overall. I think that right now PMGC 2022 has to be the best one yet. Inco over towards Shelter, a team that loves to head central very quickly, pick up a position in the map and then just hold on to it. Not necessarily going for these big blast out games where you hit up towards those massive elimination counts, but those games that will see you steady over 3 days towards the end of this grand finals, where you may be able to pick up yourself a first, second or a third place. Inco, though, I believe might have some more difficulties when it comes to PMGC 2022. I think that if they're heading towards that center side, it's not necessarily always going to be as easy as that as it was over in that last chance. It looked pretty simple, the game plan for them there, but I can almost guarantee you some of these other teams that are extremely good, very well honed in capability, will be picking off these kind of rotations from Inco and to the such of other teams within this lobby.
Buradam playing on the eastern side of things, will be pretty close to Inco, in fact. See Sky only on foot this time around. Might have to jump into the three-wheeler here with Kengzo. Tiger as well, maybe occupying that third spot, but Inco are further down the hill and they should be safe in prison. Hang on a minute. Vampire have managed to pull First Blood out against Ketch from Fireflux. So Vampire managed to get the first point of the tournament. A good start to proceedings for them. They'll be happy to kick things off in such a fashion.
Yeah, I mean, that's really good news for them. At least one initial knock. Don't know if that was First Blood, though, so far. Yeah, that's your one elimination. Seems strange that a point isn't there, but that will come after the game finishes, and they pick up their placement points for all these matches. But the Elims, they are 1 point each so far. So if you got that answer right, you're very smart. And or, to be honest, it's a gimme. It's a gimme, that one, right? Who won the title twice in a row? Everyone knows it's Nova. So if you didn't get it right, I'm a little disappointed, but if you didn't get it right because you're just joining into PUBG Mobile Esports now and you're joining on to us, I'm very happy you're here. And maybe you'll get it right next year if you hang on with us, because we do have so many more fun things to go.
But is it going to read who are the 3-time champions of PMGC, or is it going to be who took the title?
Who took the title away from Nova? I mean, that's the real question, right? And I think for Nova, specifically over in those test matches, I think we didn't see absolute domination, let's say. I don't think it looked as squeaky clean as it usually is. But again, test matches, scrims, don't necessarily translate extremely well when it comes to actual play, actual action. And also for Nova in particular, this is the team that often cruises through and then really pulls out those big numbers, the big action when it absolutely counts. And right now it counts more than ever.
Absolutely right. Towards the finals, the last 18 games of this season of the 2022 PUBG Mobile calendar are being played out right now, so there's really no more time to wait. Can't be hanging about, not this time around. But they do have their countrymen to worry about. The Wolves obviously coming in from the PL, coming into this as a potentially even higher seed than Nova, having beaten them out previously. You've also got 4 Angry Men who were able to qualify directly through from the group stages.
Yeah, I mean, 4 Angry Men are a very, very good team, doing particularly well in PAL as of recent. I think they had a bit of a fall-off over in 2021, right? And I thought it was a bit of a shame that we didn't see them in 2021, considering they did have such a splash over in 2020. That's why they looked extremely strong. I think that was back when, you know, they were taking shots against Solke over in Vikendi when his team was in Castle. That was a great time. I think they looked like one of the best teams. So again, 2021 rolls around, 4M isn't there with us. It comes as a massive surprise, a huge shock to the community. So I think seeing 4AM back here is almost a return to normalcy, honestly, which is great for me to see. This is definitely what I want to see as well.
Let's hop on board with 4 Angry Men. Kengzo under pressure now from Good Shout. Not quite able to get the full knock, but half an HP bar taken away. Fortunately, there is cover. There is a building there for Buradam to be able to take occupation of. Wolves as well. On the top of Potato Hill, you said that it was going to be just the one team in the center. Well, now there's more that have started to move on through. This is quite a wide split over Potato Hill. 2 and 2 for Wolves.
Yeah, this is a typical kind of rotation. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I think it's one of those ones where you can lose players pretty quickly over on that western side. And if you get rocked upon aggressively with a push up towards the north, there's only 2 players there. It's very difficult for those players on the western side to react quick enough to provide that support that they need. So you're really looking at kind of a 2v4 scenario where you're hitting one of the knocks. You don't necessarily have to finish it as a 2v4, but you certainly need to slow something down. I think that's where you need to be a very, very good team to make that one happen. Chinese teams, though, they are very well known for these 2-2 splits, even bigger splits than that, in fact. So if anyone can do it, I mean, we can imagine that Wolves would be able to hold this position.
Kelsey takes the lion's share of the damage there, but the buggy brings them back to safety for S2G. Circle pops, center, a little bit to the south coast there, will keep the water in proceedings, but likely that we will be finishing over to the east side of Pachinki, northwest of Farm, southeast of School.
But playing massively over towards that edge side, right? They're not even making their way into the circle as of yet. Still yet to pass over towards Getka. Nova decided to leave that position behind, trying to head further in towards the circle itself. We're seeing Wolves at the moment actually taking shots over towards Nova. Order's found a position that's down towards the southwest side of Potato Hill.
Nova yet to fully regroup here on their maneuvers, but they will be able to do so very, very quickly, and Jimmy wastes no time in starting to extend that Caterpillar slink back together. Yuhai on the hillside for GeekFam, looking to slow down the Nova IGL. Jimmy will hear those bullets whizzing on past. Will be turned away at the door, has to scout out in another direction, figure out where they want to go in from here. They're already very, very central, under the purview of Wolves to their east.
Yeah, Wolves still hanging on pretty well. This is an extremely strong position that Nova currently own. One of the stronger positions within this circle, to be honest. Looks out towards that eastern side, provides a lot of cover towards the west as well with the mountainside. Well, less of a mountainside, but more of the ridge being behind you. So a really, really good position that Nova was able to find quite quickly as well. I didn't expect the team to be able to just pick this one up so easily as that. So threaded the needle, found the position they want, straight through the sweater.
Ching Chen getting some healing done there, keeping themselves safe after the scout for the 4 angry men. Up the road compounds here towards the school. S2G outposted both sides of the road here. We have seen a couple of times where it's been 2 or 3 teams in this one settlement, but S2G have control of it for now. The circle still being fairly large means that no teams are really going to be forced into that poor spot.
Yeah, I think that when you're looking at this circle, there is a lot of areas to play, right? There's a lot of elevation, a lot of positions around the map that still have compounds, still have rows that you can play in, still have dips, dives that you can head towards. So I don't think anyone's really put out as of yet. I think for Fireflux, this is maybe becoming a bit more of an issue at this point in time, especially coming down from that northwest side. So yet to have found a home at this point in time. So for them, the rest of the game is going to be a lot about trying to find this next position within the circle. I don't think they have all the information in the world available to them with this type of spot, especially when you get to PMGC. You can see that there's still 63 players remaining, 16 teams still alive. So for a team like Fireflux, finding these positions that are empty, that are still available to pass through, very, very difficult, as teams are quite easily able to bypass one another, open space on the map to allow one another in before they really have to take these necessary fights in the end game.
DRS might have been delivered. A couple of engagements here from Alter Ego. Wolves a little bit further down on the south, but Potato is safe for now in the shack. Stays alive, looking to, I'm sure, drop a couple of stims. We'll be able to get back to full HP here. They are fairly close together for Alter Ego on their home turf, in their home ground. They'll be able to still be at 4. Who's going to go down first, though? That's the big question here at the PMGC. You don't want to be the first team getting eliminated. The next circle comes through. It's over to the east.
Again, getting that lead on the first day is really good, right? It gives you that big buffer. Able to stick up towards that top side of the lobby for a long, long while. Order being popped out by Alter Ego, no less, as well. Wonderful start for them. What a position that Nova held, and Order scouting out a little bit too dangerously. Not quite down as of yet, but Alter Ego are swarming.
They want to confirm this flush. There's no way that Nova are going to be able to get this one back either. A couple more bullets did land over towards Order, and now the rest of Nova are taking a couple of shots from Alter Ego. Paraboy worried about S2G as well at the top of the hill. Worried about that position as IHC descend onto Rig in the sidelines, and immediately a rundown and a spray down. Demo is taken out in the process, but will be safe for now. Will be just fine for the time being. Demo getting rezzed up there by Ziol.
Yeah, IHC kind of blasted off towards the end of the tournament in league stage. Created a massive gap between them and other teams to allow them to get into this grand finals. Not necessarily one of the best teams here in the lobby, but certainly with a chance to prove themselves as one of those best teams. I think right now there's other teams I've got my eyes on, but again, Mongolia was surprised before over in the PMGC. I'm sure they can do that again.
4 second places for IHC in those last chance scenarios. As Lutz takes a tumble there from Fireflux, the second player of theirs to fall. Hang on a minute, we've got a bit of a scrap with IHC. T2K looking to try and stay alive, but IHC want to finish the job that they started. And Demo again, the one to go down, and once more Zeol picks him back up.
Really good stuff. I mean, Demo's kind of just playing as the absolute punching bag of the team, which is absolutely fine. I'm okay with that. You know, as long as a little bit of sand's pouring out of him, but he's staying up on his feet, brought back. And that defensive shield in front of the team, that's all good for me. So IHC, really, really well done so far. 3 eliminations. T2K didn't know what hit him. Circle up towards our northern side. Solus still a player on bended knee. 4 AM down underneath and down towards the southeast with Good Xiao. There's Ching Chen down towards the south too. They're playing this 2-2 split. I think that they might be ready to converge on top of Solus and Fireflux if they move further ahead of them, maybe towards that north side and eliminate their approach into towards that circle.
The last player from T2K spotted out. Location known and isolated by IHC. On the northern side, Koyovsky has the info there as well, but not really too much ground to be playing around with to get those points on board, to slurp them back up into the pocket. Fireflux, 2 players alive. They've been picked apart a little bit. Solus and Solkay, the remaining duo on the south edge of this next circle near Farm. GeekFam currently on the outside in the cold here, southwest side, near Stalwart. Nova to their north. Remember, Nova have lost a player already, so there are only 3. And Vampire further north of that.
Still 3 players, more than enough a lot of times. Influence came in, had a seriously good run throughout the entirety of this year. It's not a case of a team that suddenly they were hit by bright light and able to head in towards the mirror and realize they didn't need the glasses anymore and they were somewhat more muscular. They've always been that way. They've just been working on it for quite some time. Fortunately, this is not going well for them.
Oh, Influence came in, getting caught up in the web of it. IHC stringing them along now. Only Law remains on the backstop as Nova have their own problems to deal with. Nades out through the window. Influence, hang on, 2 teams have already fallen there. The burn down as Geek Squad try and roll into Nova. It's not going well, they're turning the tides. Jimmy is down, sure, but King and Paraboy set up the crossfire and the Geek Fam are cut down.
Goodness me, Geek Fam. This is a great chance to represent Malaysia here in the PMGC Grand Finals and look for that grand title itself. Unfortunately, going against Nova and getting picked apart like that does not bode well towards the team that is currently defending. Vampire Esports, on the other hand, this may be a different team, a different type of beast altogether.
Jimmy did go down in the process, so 2 players alive now for Nova. A knock went over towards Vampire earlier. Schweppes puts a nade through the window to back him off the angle.
Oh, it's beautiful!
But it goes long and through the door. Paraboy runs right on into it. King now needs to reposition. Geek Fam might be able to stay alive off the back of this knock. King dropping those smokes, allowing himself to cross, making sure that he has the cover. Fluke cannot really go for this full aggression just yet. They have to be worried about Geek Fam as well, but the hillside's now controlled. King in for the res, but in comes Stoned and Ravenclaw in the vehicle. In through the window, pulls the ordnance, and there they go. Nova down and out in the first match.
An entirely different beast is exactly what this team is. Sharp fangs, long claws, and massive, massive potential to scare here in the late game, prowling out from the bushes. Really, really well done to Vampire Esports. Cut themselves a nice bit of the circle for themselves over on this western side, can move through it. Good positions to move up against as well towards that east. With Alter Ego taking a couple of knocks there, that might just be their go signal.
Delta definitely spotted Ching Chen going on into the shack, and there's the Molotov. Is it going to spread? Is it just fallen a little bit short? I think it might be able to get a first aid off there and stay alive, but that nade in through the door might just seal the deal. Outside again, a DRS laying it short.
DRS, honestly, they played a very safe type of game over in the league stages, waited a long, long time, and it wasn't until towards those final moments we really saw what they were made of, John, honestly. And I think that once we did see that, we saw that, you know, they were maybe a little bit more tougher than we expected. Considering now on the edge a lot of times, now they're taking the fights to these big teams over in the PMGC.
Wolves, Stalwart, already looking for the crash. The Wolves lose the first on the engagement. Action already on 2 eliminations as Remember falls. Memory wiped out as well. Scry into the ground floor, stays up and kicking as well. Beautiful and Pick feet to the back lines now. Looking to pick Remember back up. Scry gets that heal off and they remount their aggression. Scry in through with that DBS. Action takes a lot of damage, but Pika is already forwards with the UMP. Pick feet falls on the top floor and Beautiful's there as well. He's found and Stalwart keep it on rolling. The Chinese teams are being pulled apart here, Blank.
Really good stuff there from Stalwart. And again, this is definitely no longer these years of PMGC being all about China. We have some seriously good teams, Alpha 7 included, taking it to the guys from Buddhadam so far. Mythic down behind them, but if anyone can do it, Revo can. This guy has been certainly impactful for the team.
Carrillo is still there as well. Tiger with the zone pushing in will have to move now. Demo from IHC. We've seen him be, you were talking about it, a little bit of a punching bag earlier, Blank, and that sand is still topping him up. Vampire on the western edge, playing still with 4. Pushing in, they will need to move past Alter Ego. Fnatic on the off angle. Vampire may be potentially unaware of it, but it looks like they're playing on that ridgeline. 4 players from Alpha 7. In the meantime, on the eastern side, this is the opposite end of the circle from Vampire and Alter Ego. They're going to move on forwards, take the challenge with DRS. IHC forcing this into a linear engagement.
Again, a lot of fights can start to pop off now. All these positions no longer really able to just sit around and wait for these teams to get a little bit closer. Inco, though, once again, that macro, that game sense coming into play where they pick up that northern side compound. They do it so often, they do it so well, it almost looks like luck, but I don't think we can say that it is anymore. They just have a very good awareness of where these circles are going and which are the best compounds, which are the best routes in. All 4 players currently holding on that northern side. The only other teams that may be able to contest is S2G as well as IHC, right on the edge. But look at this, IHC is suffering.
Alpha 7, they felt the pressure of that linearized fight and they said, you know what? We're not messing about here. We're going to isolate you. We're going to take you out of the mix. 6 eliminations now on the cards for Alpha 7, and they can continue to push in from the eastern side towards and potentially past DRS. Alter Ego in the meantime. Potato up the top of the hill has got a lot of sightlines to deal with, but Stalwart have other ideas. They're going to move up and potentially look to dethrone him.
Stalwart, like you said, looking to pull the players from Alter Ego away from this position. They also have to worry about Vampire Esports, who I think just have found one over on Alter Ego's side. That's Rex going down. Fnatic, Pombit still alive over towards the north here on that 2-1 split. So Inco really still have a fantastic position in the circle. Looking to pick up some big points here to start off the game. This is what they usually do. It's what they usually did over in League stage, which is pick themselves up a big game at the beginning and then run from it from there.
Alpha 7 have taken a knock, as have Stalwart. Vampire, 5 eliminations. They're playing well and together, but they have got a little bit of ground to cover now ahead of them. Alter Ego stay alive as 3. Taking heavy punishment from the north side now. It's S2G taking shots out their way. Fnatic will be able to get that first aid off, but up goes the vehicle and slow it goes down. Potato gets baked. And they're looking to add the cheese as well for 4 angry men. It's just Ching Chen remaining. The Bison in hand as well. Ponbet last standing, wants to res Fnatic in this position. Ching Chen flushes out the teammate.
Again, if he takes down the last 2, that would be a pretty convincing 1v3 coming through from 4 AM. With 8 teams remaining, potentially some good points here for them. DRS still going strong though. See them with 4 players still alive, 4 eliminations, certainly not bad. Alpha 7 with 6 and 4 teammates still up. Make that 7 now, looking to start out these games strong.
Inco in an engagement, but Nene Bete is holding his own, as we know he can do for Inco. Vampire moving on in now as S2G have moved down south to try and engage on this as well. Up the top, Alter Ego still struggling. So we hop over to the other side of the circle now again. Hang on a minute, we're back here. Silas launches a nade up the hill and Fnatic takes a tumble. Ponbet last standing now for Alter Ego. Damage done though to the ranks of the Vampires as Alter Ego swept aside. 8th place, 1 elimination. Stalwart now with a challenge on DRS on the south side. Forwards position for actions. Pika is already down, and Scry is dispatched by Gianti on the off angle. A nice find, nade in hand on the bottom of the hill, and the res up front needs to come through now, or it needs to stay tall. Rules might not even know about it. Hang on a minute, he's pushed all the way through. He's managed to get a knock on the back, and top falls as well, but they're turned around on Gianti now under pressure from action, but it's DRS, and Stalwart fall.
An insanely good crunch there coming out from DRS from either side. I don't think Stalwart saw what was coming. They went for a greedy res there towards the end too, and just wasn't quite enough. This is again what I was talking about earlier, is there's absolutely no teams within this lobby that are not a threat anymore. You cannot just pass anyone up. You can't go for these greedy type of plays. You just have to get out of dodge. Yes, having 4 players is going to lead you to a better chance of getting that win, or maybe tailing out of that fight, but sometimes you just got to run away, and that is what potentially Stalwart should have done with his smokes. Maybe got 1 knock and then just scarpered. Could still go for that top 5 position. That top 3 was still in the bag, still available.
DRS turn their attention to Vampire now. Ravenclaw falls. Vampire did get up to 4, but they're bumped back down to 3 fairly quickly. DRS, they have 4 players of their own, and Ravenclaw gets flushed out pretty fast there. Fluke closest now and will feel the brunt of a nade in a second to dunk it down. An alley-oop set up by the DRS squad. 9 eliminations now. And the Nepali team doing so much work on the rundown. It's the Stone to close it down. S2G, hang on a minute, they've stolen a couple away. Vampire eliminated, and now they're into the fight. S2G taking on DRS, and in the midst of it all, Ching Chen has stayed alive for 4 angry men.
Oh my days, Nepali fans everywhere going to be very happy with how this game has come out. DRS playing a very, very passive game over in the league stage, but as soon as they're here in the PMGC, they've had to turn things up by 11, which is great to see. DRS currently looking very, very clean with it. Right now, a couple more teams to go. S2G, obviously a very strong team hailing from Turkey. 4AM, 1 player remaining for them. Inco with 3, with that extremely strong position over towards that northern side. But again, DRS, they have lost 1 player, so this is still all to play for.
2 Brazilian teams remain, Alpha 7 and Inco. Alpha 7 in a little bit of a crunch though on the eastern side. Mythic low and actually under pressure from Inco, the other team from Brazil, and they will find the final knock there, the final flush. 7 eliminations, 5th place for Alpha 7. That's a very good start to their tournament.
It's a really good start to their tournament. I mean, that's going to bump them up massively. It'll give them that 11-point average kind of lead very early on in terms of like a 3-game buffer, which is ideally what you want if they can take it just a little bit further now. I think DRS realizes this, which is why they slow things down massively. S2G, though, still have a chance to bring things back for themselves. It'd be a really good opportunity here to make their countrymen proud.
With the announcement that the next global finals will be held in their home country, they're looking to make their mark, to try and state their claim to be there in 2023, but they've got to get through this one first.
Really good developments coming through from Turkey this year, honestly. Just in terms of players, in terms of teams, in terms of infrastructure. And again, this has probably been one of the best years in terms of adding those really, really influential players from around the world. But again, DRS takes this one to a grinding halt now. Waiting for any of these teams around them to make a mistake. Push just a little bit too far.
And they better with that AWM, a fearsome sight as an outpost for Inco. A star player for the roster. With a big heavy hitting gun, Vitali ducks back into the blue, takes a lot of damage to retrieve that buggy, but that could be very, very valuable in the next circle or 2 to keep them alive, to give them a little bit more cover. Ching Chen still alive, top 4.
Top 4 is great right now for 4AM. They'll take this. Yes, they only got 1 elimination, but the point system, how it still is right now, 3rd, 2nd place really does offer you a very good amount of points, and this kind of game can be salvaged off the back of points like that. For 4AM to identify that, just go for this kind of gameplay. You know, it's not what they would probably do in PAL, but in the PMGC 2022 Grand Finals, this is a good call to make, and that is that adaptability of a lot of these Chinese teams coming into play.
Just needing to move a little bit further forwards in the next zone. Pretty close to the edge right now. The blue zone will not slow. no matter who you are, no matter where you're from. DRS on the south side, lurking to sweep across this hill a little bit. Inco are holding out. Qingchen finally, I think, starting to strike as the solo player, needing a little bit more ground, a little bit more position. Might be coming from DRS that actually, but S2G nonetheless still all live and kicking. All of them still in action. Kelsey on the backstop.
Kelsey, it's a good angle, but it's Vitali. Some beautiful shots there from the SLR, looking for one more. Sees the bear is hitting the helmet. Can he thread the shot over the top? But no, from downhill, it was not meant to be.
Nenebete under pressure, found out as well, just Vitali. S2G taking heavy punishment. Vitali, he's got the SLR, and now Hamzy left with the duo of Kelsey to try and stay alive. DRS are in the midst of it all. 3 players for them. 6 eliminations on Killer, by the way, in the meantime. And the players from Inco started to fall down the hill. In the midst of it all, still Qingchen stays alive, but finally dispatched. The 4 angry men will go down in 4th place. Now, Vitali around the edge, has the DBS, waits for him to go close. I don't even know if that was from the DBS. Yes, it was. Hamzy sent packing, and now Inco down the hill leaves DRS a golden opportunity, which they will seize with both hands. The Nepali team shout loud in the first match.
Can you believe it though? Nenebete was looking with the AWM to make a splash in his first game, but in fact it was Vitali out of nowhere with the SLR and that DBS to finish things off for S2G, but DRS really knew when to speed up that game, when to slow it down, and 100% deserved that win there for Nepal. Really strong play from them. You can see that they're relieved by this as well. This is going to give them that nice points buffer available to them to carry on going.
That was pretty heavy as a game for them as well. They had a lot of eliminations on the card. You could see their 6 eliminations for their MVP this game. 1.4k damage, near enough. Brilliant performance coming through from Killer for the squad, and the rest of DRS moved well on these hillsides.
Absolutely, I think for Killer, he's been performing pretty damn well recently, and a 1.4k mark is not an easy mark to hit either. That is really tough, and I think for him, he's going to be massively proud with this game, John.
You're talking about how these players can adapt, can change coming into these finals. Yeah. This is what you wanted to see from DRS. You've talked about that change of gameplay.
I mean, this is completely like similar to Nova, right? That cruising playstyle over in the league stages to get into PMGC and then bring it all to bear there. But I think DRS maybe didn't have that strength towards the start of the year. And I think through this team, through Delta, Rules, Killer, Gyante, they've really found this magical team set now, this magical core that's going to take them really all the way at this point in time. And for DRS, normally I would have looked at that situation, been like 3 players still left remaining. But it's DRS. I don't think they can close out this game. Now I look at them and think DRS have got this in the bag.
Seemingly really very effectively as well. Look at that. 27 smokes used, 21 grenades. It kept them together all the way until the end. They played it, I would say, near enough perfectly on these hillsides. And it wasn't like it was a game that just went to them. They had to fight for that position.
Yeah, they had to fight for 100%. I think for Inco, they're a very different team altogether. They're kind of the Nitro Boost team, in my opinion. You know, they've got the small amount of fuel left of Nitro, and they just hit that Nitro button towards the end of the game, the last 2 minutes. It sees them up towards that top 3. That's all they need, really.
Inco don't got friends, they got family. They are blasting out, but so are DRS, with a statement game to kick things off here at the PMGC.
DRS taking home a phenomenal game. That is 28 points, ladies and gentlemen, in their bags to start off the PMGC journey. What can you say about that one? That is phenomenal.
You can never count out Nepal. I have the impression that's what we can say here, Seven. Always a team that can get himself these strong chicken dinners. And the way they played it, I love how John really mentioned it during that game. So close to almost perfection, the control of that high ground position. Like, really, as long as they cleared the team south and east, there was no way DRS did not get that chicken dinner.
Yeah, and I love the aggressiveness that they were able to showcase too. I mean, we saw them being able to run over people too. We saw them being able to use anything within their means to just get those eliminations. They ended up with their team. But I mean, Inco Gaming, for them to be able to do 10 elims, I thought that was great too. We saw at one point Vitali being able to get some great angles, trying to put on some damage. It was kind of sad not being able to see Nenebete use that arm. I would have loved to see that.
Hey, you got himself at least one, I think, knock plus a flush afterwards. I
wanted more.
It's not DBS, you know. I'll tell you that much. But hey, Brazil looking good. Get himself a second and fourth place in points 1. Pretty good start.
S2G as well, we saw them there, and then you can see one of the players that I was talking about, Inco Vitali. He was able to put up 7 eliminations, 44% of the contributed. Are you kidding me? 1,300 damage too?
Wait, look at my boy Killer. 21 nades on his lonesome. What? His backpack was just full of nades.
Okay.
Vitali had 1.
No.
Well, his looting phase must have been pretty good if he was able to throw 21 grenades.
Might have been some smokes in there.
Maybe
too.
a few here and there. You know,
Yeah.
you got to use those.
Still, what, like, for them to start off like this, that is so impressive. 1,300 damage out of both players.
Well, we already have Inco here right now. They were the team that had, well, the best position for most of the circle. They were the only ones that had hard cover inside their compound on the southern side. Still getting 7 elims and just 1 player and 10 in total. Is this something you expected with that circle?
I mean, the thing is, as you said, right, the circle did come their way, but the way they just control it, and especially when they sent Nenebete, keeping 2 players retreated in the compound, you're just somewhat securing a big area, and you just say, look, allowing yourself to get a few eliminations here and there, but top performer, of course, is going to be Vitali this time around.
Who else?
And, 44% team contribution, really putting the foot forward for Inco.
Yeah, and for me, I mean, Killer YT as well, being able to put up 6 elims. We saw them earlier too. But Vampire Esports, I felt like that was just such a pleasant surprise. We were looking at each other, we were hyped up. I was getting flashbacks from PMWI. This team just being able to third party, I feel like that was the story for me. And I'm really, really excited to see that type of Vampire here.
I was really wondering, is what we saw in PMWI going to be shown up once again here? And I can say it already in the first game here, Seven, that is the case. They took down Nova. They went for an amazing push right after that onto Alter Ego. They're looking hot. They're looking great. They're looking like they want a first good day.
And that is it, ladies and gentlemen, with match 1 of PMGC 2022. Match number 2 is coming up any minute, and we've got Miramar. Ladies and gentlemen, Miramar?
That's how I call it.
Oh, okay. That's something new, I guess. We haven't been working together for so long. But Miramar is coming up any second. But I do want to touch on a couple of things because I don't think we've had enough talk about the first game. You were talking about Vampire, and I wanna touch on something really quick because they took out the current champion of PMGC of the last 2 seasons. But how did that fight even start? Because you were having some interesting thoughts about that.
Yeah, because they took themselves a fight right before. Nova were able to actually defend that compound at first, but the player got knocked. And that's the cool thing that I love so much about Vampire. They are so aware of their surroundings. Every time something happens, they're like, okay, we know what's happening around us. Let's try and turn that into a favorable situation. They had a perfect 2-2 split, shoot angles to scout information on that compound. They're like, we're not going to allow you to get that res. We're going to get close, get that nade from Schweppes, and then it's just so easy to just like, okay, full send it. It's in the bag, boys. And it was indeed in the bag.
And I felt like that nade was perfect too from Vampire, from Schweppes, because you can see he's positioned himself exactly, and he knew that Paraboy was going to decide to back up and probably go into that closet there in that second floor. It got him perfect. And going a little bit back to on Nova, I mean, for them to lose order right away, I feel like that was just such a huge shocker. And then, I mean, we heard it too. Alter Ego being able to get that LM, everybody went absolutely crazy, but I feel like that definitely hurt a little bit of Nova there, losing that big of a player. I am excited though. We mentioned it. I'm so excited to see Vampire Esports willing to take those third parties and willing to be so aware.
Speaking about Alter Ego, while we're already at the topic, they had a pretty good position in like phase 4, 5, and 6 to some degree. And I was sitting here and I was telling you, I have a feeling they're going to win this game because they had a good position on the southwestern side. It was high ground as well. They had a team that was pressured into them by the zone, but they did kind of lose that momentum. What happened?
I'm really happy you bring that up, Felix, because I think that we were both in agreement during that game. You have what to do and what not to do when you're looking at what DRS did in that game and what Alter Ego did. Like, it's a perfect, like, just black and white situation where Alter Ego, they kind of gave too much space to teams like S2G, to teams like especially Vampire, who were just looking so hot after taking down Nova. If they held their ground, maybe they're in a similar position as DRS. Maybe they have an opportunity to go for the win, and then you look at DRS, holding their ground, clearing out. I think it's Alpha 7. I think it's Stalwart also they clear. If they did that, could have had an Indonesian chicken dinner for the first game.
I would have loved it, and I was actually surprised that Alter Ego didn't decide to push on the fight between Nova Esports and Geek
I know,
Fam.
right, yeah.
I thought that was going to be the team that was going to be willing to third party that, and then Vampire Esports says, you know what, you guys are taking too long, we'll take over.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be it.
And with that being said, let's head over to the teams to watch for game number 2, Miramar. We have the picks from these beautiful analysts already here. I gotta see. Oh, it's DRS again for Maxman. Maxman, can't you explain? I mean, there's not much to explain, is there? But
They kind of got a
tell me
win,
about it.
you know? I just like the confidence they were showing in that game because, like, DRS in the past, like, of course, this is a completely different roster, but when we used to see teams from Nepal, they're like, not teams that are known for being like, okay, we're going to put our foot down, this is our position, if you try and push it, you're going to lose. And I love that kind of mentality from them in the very first game. So I hope we can see hopefully more of that playstyle and just attitude in these games.
For me, I went with Alpha 7 there. I mean, we saw the aggressiveness out of them. I think they ended up with 7 eliminations. That's definitely what I love to see. We saw it during group stages. Miramar was usually one of their strongest maps, and that's also why I picked Nova, because Nova used to be very, very strong in Miramar, and they're going to need to bounce back here. I'm pretty sure they're currently just boiling inside, saying, you know what, we can't allow that to happen. We can't allow Order to just get eliminated early on, and then Vampire Esports, I want to continue to see those Vampire Esports third parties.
Very good. You have 2 teams in common, which is DRS, A7 and Vampire, but there's one difference in your pick, which is Nova. So you think we're gonna bounce back after that one?
Miramar.
Yeah,
makes sense.
It's Miramar.
That's why we both picked him, I think. It's like Miramar, you got Nova. It kind of like 1 + 1 = 2, and I'm bad at math. Even I can tell that.
Well,
okay,
I'm too. Don't look at me. But yeah, I mean, that's
anything.
Interesting picks.
Don't make me do math. Okay, my dad's an accountant, and he's gonna be upset if I get it wrong.
Well, interesting picks either way. Brazil starting off really strong, though. We've seen it in the rankings. A7 and Inco both having incredible performances. But I do have to say, out of both of these teams, I felt like Inco had a little bit of an easier game. That's why I would still rate, and I can see it in the picks, and I can understand why, A7 a little bit higher. That aggressiveness, is that something you see A7 having throughout the whole of PMGC finals? Is that what you expect from them as well? Because a lot of people have been debating about, you know, teams like HVP not qualifying, for example, because they were overly aggressive. And a lot of people were saying Nova is exactly that kind of good mix. Where does the Brazil team stand here right now in terms of aggressiveness and, you know, maybe sometimes taking a step back and winning it?
Ask the expert.
This is Nova right here, all right, in regards to aggressiveness. And being able to switch that on, being able to have that switch, right? And I feel like Alpha 7 is here. Before, they used to be super aggressive, and they didn't have that slow down button. They weren't able to be as patient. This is a completely different team than before. So for anybody watching, if you think they're going to be able to just continue on that aggressiveness, they will. But they will be able to switch it on when they need to. And I feel like that's a huge, a massive improvement out of Alpha 7 this year.
Yeah, I mean, as you said also many times when we were talking about Alpha 7, they're a very streaky team, right? And this was not an easy game for them. That 5 versus DRS, I think, is a very slow, like, low percentage of chance they actually win it. The fact that they survived as long as they did, got as many eliminations as they did, is very impressive. So we'll see if they can make it happen here on Miramar.
And that's it from us, ladies and gentlemen. We will be going over to these beautiful castles that I can see on my right. We will go over to John Allen, and thanks. Have fun!
Oh, we got it. We're here. We're ready. We are a little bit chilly up here, actually, but he's doing all right. He's managing. He's managing.
I saw like DRS got this really cool scarf, so I might steal that. I also saw that, you know, also Alter Ego's got some cool merch as well. So you might, if you see me later, I'm probably going to be just like stacked layer upon layer of different team merch, and I might be unrecognizable.
It'd be great because no matter who wins, you'll be wearing their merch, right?
Exactly.
You just might have to peel off about 7 layers, but you'll get that.
They're like, that's biased. It's like, but wait, there's more.
You put the headband on.
Yeah.
I love that. Oh, team headbands would be cool.
Team headbands would be cool.
Maybe
like
next year.
5 of them.
Maybe in Turkey we'll get some done.
Stacked. It's like got this ring up in front of my head just in case I bump my head on anything. It'd just be like
you need it.
good. Wow. Okay. It's kind of me. But
You clumsy bumbler.
I'm quite the klutz, unfortunately. However, there was no clumsy play on that last game.
Certainly not.
We saw some really good stuff there from DRS. Obviously, Alpha 7, very strong. Unfortunately, weren't able to take it all the way, sadly. S2G, similarly, got absolutely picked apart by Vitali from Inco. That's kind of just a Vitali thing to do. You know, it just happens. Comes out of nowhere. It's good to go. It's match made in heaven for Inco in that particular moment. I think S2G probably was the only other team that could have beaten out DRS. So as soon as they took them down, they kind of secured themselves that second place.
Players loading on into the lobby, making sure they got everything sorted out. Fireflux didn't really have the burn that they had in the solos in that first match, but there's still plenty more left to go. We are into match number 2 fairly soon, as the lobby once more spins itself up to get ready for Miramar, for the desert.
Obviously a bigger map here, I say that every single time. Just for the newbies, obviously. Do have, obviously, your boys Vampire over here, looking very good at the last game. Unfortunately, weren't able to take it all the way as DRS bombarded them with a grenade airstrike from the side, smoked them out. They have no idea what was hitting them, but we are headed into our second match of the day on Miramar.
Plane path from Los Higos all the way up to Torre Ahumada in the northeast side. A fairly even cut on the plane path. Should be fairly kind to everyone involved. We'll be looking at who's going to be dropping out towards places like Picado, like Los Leones, or Pozzo as well. A crucial area. Montenuevo potential to get a little bit hot on this plane path as well.
The potential for Montenuevo to get a little bit spicy. The team's able to quickly head up towards that northwest side and get themselves in position. Picado, obviously one of those really, really well-liked positions around the map. Maybe someone's going to pick up that soon. Torre Ahumada, also easy enough to head towards another Copadilla, another position around the map that does provide you a lot of options towards that late game. So it's a surprisingly good playing path here for a lot of teams in this lobby. We'll just see who's able to pick up those priority spots early.
Halfway on the plane path now. Alter Ego, DRS close to one another on the south coast. Over in Picado, it looks like it's going to be Wolves on their own right now. Los Leones potentially shared between Vampire and T2K, but T2K are a little bit further north and might not even challenge for it. Instead, they've got their own problems to worry about over there. There's 2 teams dropping near them. The outpost from Nova all the way down towards that south side. Circle pops. It's over towards Impala.
Yeah, Impala open now. Not many teams actually headed over this way, in fact, so you should see some players and teams heading on towards Puerto Paraíso, even Impala. Delta's taking the Delta Expressway over towards that position of the map on the old glider. Good news for them. Won't get isolated. A bit more difficult to actually take players out in this thing, considering how fast it can be. Not very evasive though, unfortunately. Most time when I try and pull out evasive maneuvers, I tend to just smash right into trees.
That is one of the main dangers, I think, of flying.
Yeah.
When there are trees nearby. Or even, you know, pylons in the background, hitting those cables. Smash. Bad times.
That's right.
I feel like you're trying to tell me something and I'm not getting it, but I don't know what's going on there.
No, it's just quite funny, though, because John is dressed for the weather right now. He's got a nice jacket on. He's good to go. He looks cozy. Looks warm.
Oh, so cozy.
I'm currently borrowing a sweater. Got the hood up. I'm sat down. I'm all huddled in my chair, and it kind of looks weird. Kind of looks like someone's the professional and I'm not. However, I can bring professional commentary. Might not look like a professional right now.
Oh dear. You look fine. You're doing great.
Thank you.
We're surviving. We're managing.
It's not always... You can't always judge a book by its cover.
The only survival happening, not just in the game. It's in the casting area
I'm surviving
as well.
here as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like gale winds of Antarctic freezing possibility. But obviously, these teams must be nice and happy. They can pretend they're in Miramar. I can pretend I'm in Miramar.
Yes, you can.
That nice hate. Oh. You know, it's just taking over my brain.
Look, you're just gonna get jealous if you think too much about it.
I really, really am. But again,
IHC on the western side in Montenuevo. No one really challenged them out on this western edge. They can move in fairly soon.
Absolutely. And again, this is what I'm saying about, you know, not judging the book by its cover, or me with my silly sweater on. But it's just teams like DRS or Inco where you think to yourself, you know, maybe you're looking at this team a little bit wrong. Like, I used to think Inco was a lot of luck. I think that they're fully aware that they don't have that power to go against some of these teams in the lobby that are right towards the top. And there are a lot of them. And I respect that about them because they just set themselves in positions where they can take those third parties, they can take those off angles, and that's fair enough, that's fair play. I like that from Inco. They're doing what they can to steer themselves up towards a top position here at the PMGC Grand Finals. No matter what happens, I think if Inco can keep up this kind of pace, they're going to bring home some good money for the team.
Influence Kevin north side of El Azhar. Wolves left Picardo very, very swiftly, I would say. We're not too far into this game, Blank, and they've already left and headed all the way out to the east, towards La Bendita, near towards where Nova have actually made their move. So 2 of the Chinese teams will be playing there. Hang on a minute, there's a third as well, because Nova are in the midst of it also, near the crater, near Minas Generalis. Just a little bit further north. Inco crunching in from that north side. We'll see if they have got that power.
Inco, obviously, this is what I'm saying. I don't think they have that power just yet. But I think what they do have is they have good game sense, they have good awareness. I think they do their homework. They go home and they study. They keep the little nightlight on. And that's fine. I respect that. I like that a lot. It's something I admire in a team. I think if you just come into these matches, you just have sheer brute force. Doesn't always come through if you don't have, you know, the brains to back up that brawn a lot of times. I think right now Inco is kind of consists a lot of brains. They're a strong brain though. Very strong brain.
Big strong brain.
Yeah, a muscular brain.
They've been eating their greens.
Yeah.
S2G on the western side as well, just a little bit behind the queue for Wolves. And they'll draw a little bit shorter, but they're still firmly in this circle for the next. But they went over towards Impala on the east edge. And looking to create an outpost a little bit further into the mix of it all, a little bit out to that western side of their position. They'll be happy to do that, happy to be able to gain that foothold. 4 Angry Men on the southwest side. Chington was able to get very, very deep into that last game. 4th place, in fact, for them as a solo player. So a good foothold on the tables will have been achieved there. 9 points total, which on the game that they were having, a really, really good result.
It's not bad. I think he was hoping for a top 3. And it was quite quickly that a lot of these other teams went out after them. But again, 9 points. Yeah, it might not be that average you're looking for like maybe that 10, 11 plus, but what does see them is in a range where this game, they hit just a little bit higher, maybe a few more eliminations, get a decent position over towards that. They'll be making good pace in this lobby. VPE currently right on target with 10 points on their last game. I would like to see something a little bit more explosive from VPE. Obviously, taking the title in PMWI, they took both the titles, in fact. That was over in the main tournament as well as the after party. They were absolutely smashing the competition. It was a global competition as well, but this wasn't the type of teams you maybe see at PMGC. It was some of the best teams around the world, and honestly, then we cut down to these leanest and meanest for PMGC 2022 Grand Finals. I do think VPE could take home the grand title, and it would be an incredible result for Thailand overall, and a massive meteoric rise there for Vampire Esports, a relatively unknown team.
Having 2 Thailand teams as well coming in from the region, Vampire and Buriram, is already a great result for the region. Blank. They've already managed to put up a phenomenal performance over the 2022 season, so we're looking for more coming out of that side of the world in the SEA area. Of course, with the updated PMPL formats, with the shifts coming through, there's all the more opportunities for teams to try and take them on in that region as well. 4 Angry Men looking to take on a team of their own, the home team, Alter Egos. But no one really going down too low, no one really taking too much damage, just presence being demonstrated and felt.
Yeah, territory usually very important here on Miramar. I think that you can kind of claim a lot of territory quite quickly, specifically because there is so much elevation on this side of the map as well towards El Azhar. You can control a full kilometer around you, and in fact, you know, you are seeing a team like Influence Kemin doing that right now from the southeast of Junkyard. A7 tend to take very similar rotations to Influence Kemin, though a lot of times it has been Influence Kemin winning out on that side. With this circle though, it's just quite cruel. I think Alpha 7 has figured out a path past Influence Kemin. Now they have to pass them. They want to get in towards the circle. So I think maybe this is a rotate in together. I don't think Alpha 7 wants to get too far behind this movement.
Alpha 7 in the last game, 5th place, 7 eliminations. We talked about that being a great start for them. 13 points will be their current line up there.
Kind of remind me of like a combo point team, because you know, as they start to build up those combo points and they keep hitting their target, they keep striking different areas, you know, you start to see them like really blast out, and that's when you'll see the momentum carry them throughout the rest of the game towards that very end game where they just look absolutely phenomenal. I think if you see Alpha 7 start to strike out too early though, or a little bit too late, and then they stumble, they falter, that's when the engine starts to, you know, get caught up a little bit, starts to choke and gurgle, and I think Alpha 7 needs to really avoid those type of situations and maybe come to a dead stop, reevaluate, and then go again from step one.
Fuel not quite mixing there properly for the Inco engine, and King spots a shot onto Squash. Sails it on down. Wolves, S2G taking a little bit of scrap at their own. The Wolves try and crash on in, but S2G, they played well in the last game. They're going to continue to do so here. Memory burned away as well. 2 points found for Kelsey.
Yeah, there's a lot of confidence coming through for S2G from the global stage, right? There was a lot of people predicting them to be in the top 3. And I think right now they're proving why they should be up towards that position at the moment with 15 points, 2 eliminations found. Inco, I think this is kind of typical of what we expected to see. Eventually they were going to head central. Fortunately, Nova is just too quick with this rotation. They're comfortable with making it as well. If anyone gets too close, they're going to quickly take shots down towards them. Now Inco's suffering because there are more teams willing to play center and very quickly.
Will be a little bit trickier for them. However, in the first game, 10 eliminations, second place, you won't be unhappy with it. See if that can continue against Nova's position. You were talking about them being close to one another. Pick feet knocked. Beautiful yet to get that res, and with the health bar as it is, unlikely that he's going to be able to make that dash unless you do it right now. Beautiful will be playing solo from here on out into the game. Moves forwards to the building. His teammate falls, and Wolves down to 1. They didn't have the greatest of first games, and it looks like the second might be a repeat.
The Wolves just as an invitational, it hasn't really paid off the way that they may have hoped here. Still think they've done very well in their respective region, but I think that league stage, well, at least lacking it, for these other teams in terms of Nova and 4AM, it's given them a lot more practice against these teams, and Wolves is coming in a little bit fresh. Now, we can say one thing for Wolves is that they're a very strong team. We know that they are, we've seen them perform at that kind of level, but I think for Chinese teams it's about that adaptation. Now, 4AM and Nova's been adapting for the last month towards this playstyle. Wolves has kind of had a day, right? They've had a couple of days maybe in test matches, results, rehearsals. So I do think that maybe tomorrow we'll see something a little bit more out of them. But it could be an instantaneous adaptation as well, where we do see Wolves get better maybe in match 3, match 4, at which point you start to see them take off just a little bit.
Cliff dives from the 4 Angry Men to move towards Beautiful. A nade leashed towards WWX, and will actually do a hefty chunk of damage there. Does need to be a bit worried, and Beautiful backs most of them off. In the meantime, Geek Fam trying to hold off Influence Kemin. Wolves fall. The last player did go down and out snipes one of the 2 remaining Geek Fam players. Will leave his teammate high and dry now as Damn Rude, last surviving member for the squad. Influence Kemin up to 3 eliminations.
Nice stuff for them, Alpha 7. Don't have to get in on board that kind of action as Influence Kemin moves up towards that northern side. Fireflux still on the edge though. On that southeast, we're looking at them right now. Currently 2 alive, but 0 points found so far. So for Fireflux, a good start towards their show match at the beginning of the day. However, we haven't seen anything too exciting so far. And I think that is kind of the curse of playing as a edge team. A lot of times you can quite quickly crash and burn in just a plume of smoke and not really get anything done, as opposed to a team that might want to play center, might be able to pick up a couple of eliminations here and there and pad their scoring. But I think Fireflux is looking for one of those big chicken dinners.
As are plenty of other teams, to be fair. At this stage, an early lead is great to be able to secure. DRS were able to do it. Stalwart distributing goods, making sure everyone is nice and supplied. Solus scouting out a little bit further north from the rest of the roster. Buradam will be spotting them out as well. Inco close to 4 Angry Men and Nova. This is that central position that you talked about being moved into very quickly, Lang.
See, able to get one of the players back up, so Inco's still at 4. We're sent away by Nova. It's not an ideal position, unfortunately. The team's able to watch across. Again, though, Inco's kind of setting themselves up towards Buduram and Alpha 7. They'll have to plant their feet, though. In the meantime, 4 AM looking over towards Fireflux. Again, this would be horrific to crash into this one and take so many casualties so quickly.
Oh, Lutz and Solke both fall, and Fireflux are down to 2. A really nice crossfire, a forwards movement from Svan, and WWX does them wonders, but King is there to play spoiler. Spots Svan crawling back behind the headland, and there is cover now. King backed off. Solus will be looking out this way, but Ketch in the meantime is also down, leaving Fireflux at just the 1. The res now looking to come through for the 4 Angry Men on that southwest side. As King backed off that ridgeline, Jimmy wants to put pressure on as well, trying to back up the teammate, but King is flushed. A player lost now fully for Nova as 4 Angry Men pull themselves back together. All 4 of them now up and kicking.
Yeah, that could have been an absolute disastrous result there for 4 AM after they've secured such a good position over towards that northeast side of Lebendita, only for King to come in, find one player on the knock and then the flush, in which case their push up towards Nova later on would have been really difficult. The fact that 4 AM will just turn that around, pick themselves the elimination over towards Nova, that's going to make their push on that north side so much easier now. You can already see MWWX heading up towards Stalwart.
Spreading their influence. Slowly creeping it outwards. Stalwart, west side of the compound now. Playing in the warehouses, they should be just fine for the time being. DRS, south side, 4 players alive. Skirting around T2K. And looking for a position a little bit further east. Buduram are going to be ahead of them, and they turn their tails instead. Move back towards T2K, up on the compound on the top of the hill.
Not a bad spot to play here. Do have to deal with T2K soon enough, but I'm also off towards that eastern side yet to really hit anything too large in these games. Getting 3 points on that last one in terms of placement points alone, but not many eliminations as they were cut to pieces by the likes of Alpha 7.
Delta moving up into the smoke. As Rules establishes the off angle for DRS. They are going to be looking for this almost directly, but Alter Egos may be a third party on this engagement. You can see Potato there just off in the distance, moving forwards towards things as they go off. Oh, a lovely nade straight on through. There's a low health bar there. Unfortunately, there it is. The third party from Alter Egos comes through, and DRS's presence is going to be waning now as Alter Ego can start to flow across this hillside. But do they want to commit to this fight with DRS at this stage? Instead, they can just get ahead of T2K on this compound.
Decent start there, though. 1 down at least. Like you said, John, do they want to get ahead of this one? Do they want to move further up? But doing that would mean they would have to come face to face with 4 AM or Vampire Esports towards La Bandita. It's a bit difficult now if you're on this southern side. I think anyone that's moved already up in towards that north edge of Minas Generalis is feeling pretty happy. Just off the back of the fact that they don't have to move too much. Little boy from Influence came in actually scouting down towards the eastern side of Minas Generalis. Kind of like that move.
Vampire bringing Stoned back down the hill. Razy and Silas looking to just peek over this ridge line, get a little bit of control. They've spread out 2 and 2. They're not looking to take the center of this crater, but they want the info on the teams that have got that. They'll be able to get away with that to boot. Circle pops central away from that southwest glut, and mostly away from the teams on the northwest as well. There's going to be a lot of scrapping up there.
100%. I think there's going to be a huge amount of engagements. Demo already down. The scout from IHC certainly doing his job there. They will lose 1 player, but Nova with 3 as well. But I think for Influence Kevin, they just have so much strength on this northern side with Little Boy holding that compound towards the east. Law still on high, providing that high ground vision, the bird's eye view of the map. Really, really well done. It looks like S2G now moving in from the west, maybe looking to try and hamper the guys from 4 AM, pick up that position over on the ridge side, clearing out the entirety of Lebendita before thinking about doing anything about it.
5 eliminations for Influence Kemen. This is the only Brazilian team that didn't really have a great game last time around. They got no points on the first, going out in 15th place. So good to see that they are not going to be discouraged by that. They will start to step up now. 5 eliminations, most in the current game here. And you were talking about the strength of their position. So we'll see if they can leverage that and earn the points that it would beget. T2K on the south side, looking to move a little bit further north. Hamzy moves on in the meantime and spots a stalwart player. Pika picked off.
Pika, not the most ideal a spot for them. Stalwart looking to get a little bit further on their side. Obviously top, Scry towards that western edge. I think Nova's got a pretty good chokehold on them at this point in time though. Some smokes went down, but Nova has to worry about the guys from IHC. Alter Ego taking Nox 2. Potato, I think he's last remaining now for the team.
Ooh. Delta just gets back to cover for DRS and around the side again. Up and into the upstairs position now for Delta, but the blue zone's there, and there's the knock. T2K will not have to worry about that one. Killer further ahead of the curve. Jane just needs to stay alive, and they can move in and play this one smart. They should see that Delta's gone down and will be flushed as well. T2K also taking shots over towards Schweppes. Will be able to find them, but there is an answer on that engagement. Influence Kemen in the meantime on the northern side. They've been troubling IHC for a long, long time and will continue to give them that very same trouble. More eliminations starting to flow on through, and teams are dropping like flies now, Blank. We've just lost, I think, 5 teams in about 10 seconds.
It was very quick. And honestly, this is the case of Labadita being shunted out. There were so many teams kind of playing around that area. And you can only play around that area for so long before you have to full send it over this side. Vampire Esports were really hanging on by a thread for a long, long while. They lose 3 players, in fact.
400 men up to 5 eliminations now. S2G struggling. Silas very, very low. Will bleed on out. Kelsey also under a lot of pressure here. 400 men pick up 7. Vampire seemingly the next to fall to their blade, but there is that one shot coming over the top from Schweppes, who is keeping them together now. The only piece of the puzzle remaining for them. 2 reses potentially on the cards, but with the blue zone coming in 35 seconds, with 400 men moving in to exert leverage over those down positions. Schweppes going to have his work cut out with Qingchen on the high ground. Needs a miracle to make this one work. Good Xiao with that Molotov forces Schweppes to go for a little bit of an engagement there, forces him to peak too high, and actually it's T2K to take the point.
Vampire Esports really pulled out every single stop there to try and make their way through, but it was not meant to be, unfortunately. Aggressing onto that position maybe had to happen a little bit sooner, but with S2G up towards that north side, Stalwart, 4AM having a really good hold on that position, with Alter Ego also getting in the mix with 2TK. I think that honestly, you look at that and you just think it's a dying battle. I think Vampire Esports thought their position was a lot better than it was, but I think it was just because so many of these teams cornered themselves down towards La Bandita, which is why we saw so many fall so instantly as soon as this circle moves up this way. Influence came in, pick up that position that Little Boy's been holding for quite some time over towards that northeast. As a regroup, they may need to send it down towards Alpha 7 spot. Buradam, as well as Influence came in, both are looking to take shots towards Alpha 7 and maybe get a knock or 2, in which case they can take up the mantle of that really good spot in the circle.
9 eliminations now for 4 Angry Men already. 3 of their players still active in the fight. 2 teams right now, 3 teams, sorry, with 4 alive. Inco, Alpha 7, Influence Kemen. All the Brazilian teams are still very much in this one, but Order may be looking to change that one. Federal close by to danger, but has backup across the way. Shots landing really effectively, and there's the nade. Excellent 1-2 punch from the Influence Kemen squad. They've been playing with strength on this northern side and will continue to do so. Paraboy now looking to try and get across that road, get across that ridge line as Order flushed out, his teammate taken away. 4 Angry Man moving into another Brazilian stronghold here against Inco this time around. Vitali opens up the bidding. A good Xiao falls first. WWX is a second casualty in the engagement, and Qingchen now looking to trade nades around the corner. Vitali has other ideas. A nade towards the back goes a little bit long. Molotov around the wall stops a fallback from Qingchen, forces him into the fight, and excellently executed. Inco Beautiful hold.
I mean, 2023, the year of Brazil, man. I'm telling you, these guys are on the upward battle, the upward path towards the stairway to heaven. And honestly, I'm really so incredibly happy about Brazil and the Brazilian teams and what they've done this past year and what I think they will do this next year as well. Influence came in. I think they've come in and kind of revitalized A7 in a way, because I think that A7 was sort of cruising a little bit. Then suddenly Influence Kemin comes out of nowhere and it's like, there's another kid on the block. And Alpha 7's like, right, we can't have this. We're going to have to really go into hyperdrive. And again, Inco, the little brother, starting to make their way up the rankings as well. Looks good. I think with a little bit more time, maybe coaching, analysts, Inco could be a really, really good team. They do have extreme potential. Taking down 4AM like that is not easy.
And when you've got stars like Nenebete coming through on that little brother Inco team, it's no wonder. Say little brother, currently second place on the overall tables. 4 eliminations on this game. Brilliant, brilliant stuff from the largest country in South America. They have certainly made their mark and are continuing to do so here in Jakarta. Nova on the northern side, playing with 2 now.
Yeah, still going. I think that's the main thing. But again, only 5 points so far for Nova. It's not ideal as defending champions. It's kind of the day where you would like to get a big bump up in terms of points potential. That last day looked a little bit easier. Again, for Nova, certainly anything is possible. They have pulled things out the bag before. I would not be surprised to see a 100-point day be pulled out from a top hat on day 3. That is just something that might happen. Again, though, it would be very, very difficult. Inco. Still on this western side, still doing work. Paraboy steps up, finds at least 1 there though. Good stuff. Nenebete's down. Arguably the key player over on Inco.
Will be felled, actually stolen away there by Buriram. Across the way, Vitali looking to light up Jimmy, will be able to do so. It's Scry to chime into it as well as Jimmy goes down outside the shack. Currently held by Stalwart up the top, but Paraboy will fall to the play zone. And that's going to leave Nova out. 5 teams now remaining. Influence coming on that northern side. 3 players left alive. Alpha 7, all 4 of them going. Inco 3 as well. Buriram looking to try and keep themselves together, but they are 1 against the Brazilian 3.
It is going to be difficult now for Buriram to keep their cool going forward. Coming into the last zone before we do close this one completely. Right now, Buriram, Tiger, Kengzo, Sky Only, very good at holding down the battlefield. Sky Only is this player that's always been so manipulative of a lot of players within the circle itself.
Buriram playing with 3 shots, really tearing into Influence Kemin now as Inco have turned their attention their way just that little bit. For 8 eliminations now as Influence Kemin will fall that northern side. It gave them a lot of points there, but 4th place, 8 eliminations, great stuff. Inco is really the big news here. They started this game on 2nd place. They have 3 players alive and a really great chance here as well on Miramar.
Yeah, they were sent away by Nova. And again, this is the Nitro boost. This is where they click the green button and get going. Alpha 7 looking to stop that one. A Winnie in the hands of Mythic. They have not moved too far away from that position before. Becca, Squash, Vitali still up. Nenebete, that key player, not on his feet though. But again, Vitali was able to put in some really good work on that last game as a start opponent for them. Sky Only tries to spray down the guys from A7, but they're making a good move here. Gaining ground, actually.
Terrain play really on point for Alpha 7 with 4 players alive. That is the most of any. Buriram absolutely blindsided there to a nice little spray coming through from Squash. Buriram cut down to just 2 active. Mythic spotted, but hits the deck with a Winnie. Wants to tear a head or 2 off shoulder, but we'll have to wait and see for the opportunity. Carrillo being sprayed out towards Tiger as they go across the open field in the buggy, but Carrillo steps up for Alpha 7.
Goodness me.
Lit up and Buriram fall. That's going to be 2 teams now remaining. Alpha 7 still in it with 4 as Inco take 3 into the final fight.
Mythic down, really bad news. That off angle was so important for them. Now Carrillo tries to get himself back up into action, but already Inko is making the right moves, destroying all the vehicles, preventing them from pushing any further towards the circle. They already have the center here, a very good ridge to play around, and Carrillo split off from his team. On the other hand, Inko's in a great spot to finish this one out strong. And yeah, little brother might be getting his own back here.
Mythic very unlikely to get rezzed in this scenario. This is the final zone, and it will close all the way to the center. There is potential for them to roll out towards Mythic. There is that little ridge line in front of him that can be played as cover. But the time really not on your side, and do you want to invest the smokes at this stage?
I mean, yes, it's last zone. I 100% would. That is definitely what I would do.
Do they have any left?
Yes. No. Yes. No.
That's Inko.
There's a stun grenade. Most of them already been popped out.
Looks like that way. Carrillo does make a push really far
That's
forward
bold.
to squash his crosshairs. That's not going to work out. Unfortunately, there's not even a trade to be seen. Now 2 players active for Alpha 7. 4 eliminations on the game. Mafioso and Revo now with it all to do for the squad. Inko, they took second in the first match of today. They're looking to try and put up that first place here on Miramar. Alpha 7, arguably specialists here on Miramar though. So even with a duo, they are certainly a force to be feared. Mafioso goes down. In the meantime, Revo now last standing for Alpha 7, and it's not long for it. It is Inko to step up yet again, and what a start to their tournament. Second place followed by a chicken dinner.
We wanted to know if they still had that power to take on the biggest teams within the lobby. And look, they pulled out the nitro boost at the end, but this time they've attached spikes to the front of the car, and they send that one flying directly into the chicken dinner. They'll pick that one up, they'll take it with them. And that is a very, very good game there from Inko. Even again, losing Nenevete, being able to play with Squash, Vitali, Becca. These players really have leveled up their game from league play into PUBGC Grand Finals, and that is something that's wonderful to see. And it was great news to see that early, because a lot of these teams have got to be scared now. Got to be scared of Inko, because it's like, look, we took down their MVP. We took down their best player, and regardless of that, they're still able to pull out some big numbers, some big games. And I think for Inko, they have found that teamwork, that synergy that they were desperately looking after.
Vitali was brutal in that game as well, getting 6 eliminations on the cards for the squad. Really, really solid performance. Did so much work against those teams who tried to move in central.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, again, this is a case of getting sent back by Nova early on. Yeah, of course, that does suck. That sucks. Almost losing a player as well off the back of it. So you pull back, you pull away, you reevaluate the situation. I think they didn't want to head down towards La Bendita. They noticed there wasn't a lot of players coming across the fielded area early on. They thought, look, so many players must be down that southwest edge according to the actual playing path at the beginning, which went southwest up to northeast. So a very smart play from them to just kind of hover in that location. And it wasn't that compounded play that they went for. They kind of just went for those ridges, those little dips that they could play in, those ditches, and then really brought out everything they could in that last moment, because they were guns blazing.
They absolutely blasted on through. A great result for Brazil as a region, well, I say as a region, as a country, in that South American region. A triple result. Buriram could not stand up to the test of those South Americans.
I think Sky Only just wasn't prepared for the amount of firepower that's coming back his way. I think Sky Only's used to, stepping up, hitting some shots, and laying back down again.
Well, Inko making statements here, making big moves. And what a time to do it at the PMGC.
Welcome back to the desk. And if that wasn't an exciting game, I don't know what is. We have Brazil. 3 of the 3 teams inside the top 4. Now, Seven, if you're not smiling all over your face, I don't know when you are.
It usually takes a little bit longer for me to say this, but I think this is the perfect time to say this, Max. Do Brasil! Inco Gaming, 25 total points, 10 elims, and then you have Buriram United Esports, you know, for them to be able to put up 18 points, they definitely needed those points. But Alpha 7 continuing on a good performance, being able to get 16 points, Influence Champion as well, 16 points for them. Those teams from Brazil, and this is without Sandhawk too. I can't wait to see what they're going to be doing.
It's going to be real hype. You know, I do like normally during PMGC Grand Finals, I was going to call you Alpha 7. That's how like close you are tied to them. I like having now a little bit of rivalry on which team to look at. But really, I have to say, like, your pick of Brazil, this event has been just great so far. And Vitali, new MVP in the only 2 games so far in these Grand Finals. This guy's been clutch. He cleared out 4 AM in that game too. Like, this guy is on an absolute tear at the very start of these finals.
It is. In the first game, I thought maybe it was because they had the circle, but I feel like in this one, they were able to showcase it a little bit more of the actual talent that they're currently having. And I mean, for him to be able to get 6 eliminations out of 662 damage, that is so great to see. And it's impressive because before this PMGC Grand Final started, we were all talking about Nenebet to this, Nenebet to that. Guess what? Now you're going to have to include Vitali because now that's back-to-back 6 elimination games.
Exactly. I mean, a new player when it comes to this stage here, Seven, he's been looking so good. And no, Buriram, a team that had a little bit of a tougher time, right? Because they had to escape those field of positions. A lot of teams already were in strong positions inside that field finish. Did make it a little bit rough for them. Still, I would say, a strong approach, but the circle made it just a little bit rough to play at the end.
And for 4 Angry Man, Chin, I mean, for him to be able to get 4 elims, this was a team that didn't actually perform that well in the first match. A great bounce back.
Exactly. I mean, I think it was Vampire that was struggling to leave, and like they made sure Vampire were not leaving that position. Playing the edge of Bandita in that position, you just get so much information, can get such, information to make the next rotation.
Yes.
Unless you go into Vitali, which is what happened.
Now, a team I quickly want to touch on was 4 AM, which, for the first time now, obviously the first game didn't really go that way. First time, scored some actual, like, impactful points.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, right, that high ground position on La Bandita gets them the information, but especially, you know that La Bandita is where, in the circle, when it moves away and it's a late game circle, it's hard to escape from that position. They knew that, so they really tried to play that position to their strength.
Perfect. Before we go into a quick break, let's quickly take a moment and thank our sponsors once again. And first up, that is obviously, you can already see everyone just pointing at it because, I mean, there's a reason for it. Look, it's beautiful. It's honestly beautiful. Like the backside of it,
disappear.
wait until you see the front side.
It will?
Yeah.
It will disappear?
Oh, yeah.
Are you taking it?
I might take it home by mistake.
Wait.
Security.
What is that over there? What is that?
Where is it?
I don't know. Oh, it's gone!
Anyway, let me tell you something about this beautiful thing.
Do Brasil!
Xperia 1 Mark IV and Xperia Stream were co-developed, and I'm not kidding, in collaboration with professional esports players. And you can play PUBG Mobile with Xperia Stream's total cooling system and multiple ports for intense gaming and streaming. If you want to share your favorite clips, your highlight reels, please share them with Xperia Stream. Also, Prime Gaming, thank you so much for helping out and supporting this tournament, PMGC 2022. It's been an absolute blast of fun. We're just getting started. With Prime Gaming, you can get free in-game content. Pretty much do anything with it, right? There's plenty of free games as well, and the coolest thing about it is, obviously, we're playing PUBG Mobile here. You can get free PUBG Mobile content, free PUBG Mobile skins, in-game stuff as well. So make sure to check out Prime Gaming. And lastly, I want to thank the PBESI as well, which is the Indonesian Esports Association, the local one. Thank you so much for supporting this event as well. It's, we're glad to have you on board. We're glad to have you on board. One more thing for you guys at home. We have a survey going on right now. Some of you have already seen it, some of you haven't. And for the ones that haven't, make sure to check out the links in the chat and of course also the links on social media. You will find a link to a feedback survey, and this is gonna help us massively in terms of improving the show. You can write whatever you want in there. It's, as I said, it's pretty easy to understand. Click on the link and you'll find out what it is about. And by doing that, that's the best part, you may get a chance to win some prizes. Ooh. And obviously at that point, thank you all in advance for sharing your feedback via the survey. And with that being said, we are going into a quick break. I gotta get my phone back at some point. We're going into a quick break. See you in just a couple of minutes. Welcome back after this short break. Brazil is turning up in PMGC 2022, and not only one of the Brazil teams, almost all of them.
Yes.
You want me to go? No, every time I like Brazil, I'm just going to shut up and just let him talk.
I'll let you do it this time. What do you want to say? You know what? Actually, never mind. Inco Gaming. Can we talk about them, please? Vitaly, I know we talked about them earlier, but like I feel like that after 2 matches, that is the biggest surprise for me. What Vitaly's being able to do.
For his first time playing at this level too.
Yeah.
Right? It's just like, whoa, okay, you got teams like, your 4AMs with Svan, you got your Novas, you got so many teams that already been able to play and perform at this level, and yet he's just like, easy peasy, mate, PMGC, small event.
What's crazy too is this team has only been together for 5 months, and they're at the PMGC Grand Finals. It's wild.
Let's take a look at some of the overall rankings we have. This is the actual standings after match number 2. So going into match number 3. Inco Gaming is at the very top with 47 total points. I was about to say 27. Well, no, 47 total points. Alpha 7 is just 1 spot down. In between there is obviously DRS Gaming with 29 points and DRS on 31. That is... Are you surprised so far? I know you are on 7, but Max, is there any team that potentially sticks out to you?
I mean, I think that also we got to keep in mind 2 games is going to be very volatile. We're going to see a lot of changes, but I would not have expected this leaderboard at the start, especially seeing like DRS get himself a chicken dinner, which is always good to see. But the thing is, a lot of the top contenders we were expecting to do well. Currently on the second page here, 7, your Vampire Esports, your Nova, your IC, even the side of Fireflux Esports and Wolves and Geek Fan. Like so many teams, actually almost all the teams now, I just almost said every single name on this page. It's like, it feels a bit weird, right?
I might get hated off for this, but I'm okay with seeing Nova in the second page because of what we usually talk about. I mean, we do have Sandhog coming up, as you can see on your screen. They tend to start slow sometimes, and it's okay. It's okay for them to be in the second page as long as tomorrow they actually show up, and they usually tend to show up, right? At least that's what we've been able to see from them in the past. Now, another team that we did end up seeing on the second page that I actually want to talk about, it's Wolves. I feel like they are underperforming, even though, yeah, you said it's 2 matches, it can be very volatile, but this is not what we expected of Wolves, and I'm starting to wonder if it's maybe them not being able to play on those group stages, them not being able to have that extra information or being able to know what some of the other teams are going to be doing.
Yeah, I don't want to get any hate for this, but the only thing I remember of Wolves doing so far in these 2 games is when they needed their own teammate. I'm sorry, okay, but that's what I remember right now. We need to see a little bit of a step up. Because once again, we said we've got a lot of question marks around this team. The first time for them playing outside of their region. Yeah. Just got to give them a little bit of time. I'm sure we'll see Wolves, step up eventually.
How many games do you give them?
How many games do we have? No. I would say after day 1, we'll see more things happening in day 2, day 3.
Oh, 6 games, okay.
Let's take a look at some of the teams. And then we have teams to watch. Maxman is going to go with... Ooh, have you picked that team today?
Which one?
Buriram United. Have you picked that already?
I
don't think it is. I think it's your first pick. Because you've been talking about them for yesterday, for almost the whole day. And Inco and 4AM as well. So this time around, at least we have a lot of picks that are not not the same. And for you, 7, I want to talk about one specific team we haven't really talked about so far, which is got like Stalwart.
Yes. Now, I'm actually surprised you haven't picked them, and I think I have an idea why you haven't picked them.
You know why.
It's because you don't want to curse them, which I'm completely fine with. The reason why I picked them is because this is a team that usually tends to drop on boot camp. And since it is Sandhog, and we only honestly play just once a day, there tends to be a little bit of hot drop. So I'm interested to see if anybody's going to maybe hot drop them.
Wasn't it Alpha 7 that did it? I'm just saying, it's going to be interesting.
I did notice we both picked Inco Gaming. Okay, all right.
I gave up. Like, okay, Brazil. Okay, I'll pick Brazil.
What's your reasoning behind 4 Angry Men?
Behind 4 Angry Men, I think that the foothold they had around La Bandita, that we mentioned a little bit before that break, was really interesting. And I think that, first game, just a little bit silent. It's just one game, right? It happens. But that game, they were just like really reading that circle down to almost perfection. Sure, Inco were just, Vitaly was just a bit too strong at that moment. But I would say the macro play was strong. I want to see that potentially result in a chicken dinner. If they do it again, it could happen.
Yep, it could very well happen. So, teams to watch. With that being said, any straight up prediction in terms of Brazil? I want to get really quickly back to that topic. Is that going to continue? Because that is pretty much the region to watch right now. We have had teams to watch, but teams to watch. Is that going to happen? Quick yes or no answer. Is that going to continue for today?
Yeah.
Yes and yes. And with that being said, we're going over to John Allen and Black. Take it away, boys.
Well, no matter what happens, I'm sure it'll be plenty of excitement here on Sandhog.
Honestly, Sandhog is always a very, very fun map, very interesting map, and a very quick map. So this could be really one of those maps where anyone can take the prize here. If you're slick with it, if you're fast with it, obviously Inco is very quick at getting towards that center circle, but it's very available to move around this area of the map quite quickly. So whatever we see, you know, it could be a little bit more difficult. Specifically with a confluence finish, right? For a team like Inco, there's no dedicated center to that circle.
No, it's a little bit more tricky to make that sort of call, and often you can really kind of get scuppered by that shift if it comes in too late, or if you've made the wrong call. I say wrong call. If you've made the unfortunate,
the executive call,
the executive call to go to the place where the circle didn't end up going.
For sure, and I think that's what makes it very difficult. So this is kind of sometimes a toss-up. Sometimes it is just. I would say this game doesn't really. It favors more the fraggers than it does the IGLs a lot of times. I think you still have to have a very good IGL, but you also need to have those very good fraggers on the team if you want to perform and get those massive points available to you.
Teams loading on up. Good spirits in the S2G camp. Good to see, good to see. They've put in a bit of a shift so far today, so they can be happy with themselves. It's good to see that they're keeping themselves loose. That's what you want to see, especially on Sandhawk, right? You just talked about it. You do want to be a little bit more geared up for taking those fights, and the best way to do that is to stay loose.
Absolutely. If you don't have that pressure that's bearing down, and if you still feel like, you know, this is still first day, there's only really been 2 matches, these things can happen. We could be towards the bottom, but we could easily get a 30-point game and be towards that top on this 3rd match alone. So I think for some of these teams it does become quite easy and quite quick to head towards the top of the table. Specifically for one of the better teams in the lobby that just hasn't been able to prove themselves or show what you've got yet.
Bathed in green, the stage leads us in to the jungle. Sandhawk will be match number 3 here of 18 in the grand finals. North side plane, all the way up from Mong Nai down towards Bantai in the south side. Again, fairly even cuts behind plane path so far. They have been getting it done for us. That Northwestern Island a little bit further removed from anything else, but they will be just fine to be able to get on over there.
It's been easy enough so far for a lot of these teams. I don't think anyone's really had too many struggles when it comes to drop spots. I think the only one that was really quite difficult was that plane path over on their angle, but even then, there was the capability of the fact that the circle only went fairly central anyway, so most teams could find the position they wanted on the map fairly quickly afterwards. And I think other than that, yeah, it's been happy. I think it's been a very, very fair day, and maybe it's going to take Sandhawk to break that tradition.
Influence came in close by to Alter Egos, who are in turn a little bit in the mix of it with Vampire on that northwestern island. Big wide split for Buradam on the southeast side. DRS and Sami. Wolves taking refuge between them and Geek Fam a little bit further north towards Ruins.
4 AM towards Camp Brava. This is another fair circle, I would say. I think this is a very, very fair circle. This is on probably the one island that is super calm, super chill. You know, you can even take docks rotations up towards that northern side. For anyone who's over towards the northwest, again, there's swimming positions to get in. And because there's so much of the circle still available, you can play around Quarry, saddle your way around the side, and maybe find yourself in towards a position where no one's really playing. So I think for most of the teams here, this is happy days. And Inco, you know, may just be able to find themselves into a good position on the map quite quickly here, John.
See how fast they can get there. Probably quite important to be able to get there speedily, especially given their current location. They want to cross that river, but Buradam might be in their way. Might be able to catch a player off, though, on that flip side, so could be good either way. Teams on the northwestern island also looking for their route of egress. You talked about having docks rotations, so potential for them to swing all the way out in those boats. Have to wait and see, though. Time will tell. We're still very early doors.
Very early doors in the game. Still stage 1. Waiting for stage 2 to pop. Inco 47 points. DRS at 31. Not bad a performance from DRS, honestly. You look at the count so far, and 31 is a good clear 10 points ahead of where, you know, a steady performance would be. So I think for DRS and A7, both doing very well. Inco, on the other hand, has just absolutely blasted out of control at the moment. So very, very well done for them. 47 points, almost 25-point average, which is really, really impressive here.
Alpha 7. In Lakawi on the eastern side, looking to try and grab some vehicles and get on out of there. A little bit more central potentially to try and keep things going, but still very slow and no early engagements here on Sandhawk, and potentially one of the wildest of maps.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. For PMGC, most teams, most players are going to want to take this one smoothly, take it easily. Don't want anything too excessive happening during these games so far. IHC, we're looking for something big, looking for something good. Didn't come to bear though, 9 points. Almost that 4.5 point average. Fortunately for them, not being able to bring things up. I think they did have a good start to the day, but just weren't able to translate that across very well. Alter Egos, I think there's a lot of support here from the crowd, but currently only 3 points found. I do think they've been making the right moves though, and I think that as a team just coming in here to play with the big boys, I don't think they look out of place here. I think they still have made a marvelous amount of good work, some good rotations, some good positions around the map, and it is just a case of PMGC being very difficult. And again, Alter Egos could step up later today.
Certainly still plenty of opportunity. We've only seen 2 matches played all the way through. We'll be looking for a couple more today. 4 more to still be slated on the cards. There's Alter Egos taking the fight with Influence Kemin, one of the Brazilian teams who have been showing up here so far today. Another couple of shots landing, but no knocks just yet either way. The first scrap over towards the northwestern side of things. Law taken very, very low behind the rock. The forwards position found for Influence Kemin. Lil Boy on the off angle, absolutely lovely, sneaky little angle to be able to find the opening knock in the engagement. Law able to heal up as well, and now Influence Kemin can start to marshal their forces properly. Potato close, isolated as well from the rest of Alter Egos, and it's going well so far for Influence Kemin. Federal around the side of the rock, looks for the challenge, looks for the spray over towards Potato, has backup from the teammate as well. Will go down first though, and that's far from ideal. Potato spotted as Lil Boy hits the deck and forces his opponent to do the same.
Alter Egos, unfortunately, come to bear against a very, very difficult team to play against. Influence Kemin. I think they've been making some very intelligent moves, and the right moves as well, and I think it's only a matter of time before we see Influence Kemin towards that top side with a bunch of points found on the game. Chicken dinner almost certainly during this tournament. Looking at some of these rotations though, Vampire Esports heading over towards Tab Mock. T2K already found their way towards Camp Bravo. 4AM though, I think that Max is 100% right in the sense that, they really did leverage a very good position over Miramar, able to get themselves a lot of points in terms of eliminations. I think if they can play out that similar kind of thing, it just kind of shows how good they are in the lobby, how fantastic they have been in terms of hitting those shots, taking teams to task.
Beautiful shots there, spray down from Squash. They'll be able to open up on towards Buradam. Vitali though did get taken down in the meantime, and certainly a powerful player in that previous Miramar game. Looking to try and keep themselves alive, keep themselves going on the south side. And a reposition comes through. Nenabete picks Vitali back up, and they're up to 4 once more.
Again, this was going to be the typical rotation we talked about earlier. The docks rotation for Inco, they made it fairly quickly. This time not opting to go towards the central position of the map, instead taking their time with it, heading towards docks, try and remove Buradam. I don't think they're afraid to take these fights anymore. Currently, they do have some players in position to take shots, but this is going to be a difficult play for both these teams going forward. And again, with this circle that heads further towards the east, Buradam and Inco both have some strong positions to enter.
A lot of those central teams. Inco still with their sights set on My Name P. On foot, spotted out by Squash, but not given the angles, just sneaking away from him. Finally able to open up the cannons. We'll be able to get 1, 2, 3, and there's the last you need. They get the knock, but a lot of damage sent back towards Squash. It does result in a flush over towards Buradam, but still maybe a little bit more untidy than you would have liked for the side of Inco. However, they will maintain their lead at the top by quite the significant margin.
Yeah, not a problem for them. But gets away though up towards 4 AM. We know how good 4 AM can be when it comes to holding out teams. That's what we talked about earlier. Alpha 7 with a central spot. Maybe looking to find themselves a win here. Brazil really looking on fire today on day one of the PMGC 2022 Grand Finals. Really nice to see it. And again, I've been saying it the entire year, I think this is the year where we start to see a lot of regions no longer becoming, you know, just dead weights in the water. We see so many different teams, so many different players all performing really well now.
Except for North America.
Well, don't say that, that's me. But also...
Look at a 7 over there.
Yeah.
No, even to be fair, even North America have had their moments. And we can't really talk coming from the UK. We haven't had the greatest of success.
We don't have anyone from the UK, so we're definitely the worst in that sense. We need some players, we need some boys.
Yeah, absolutely.
It would be nice.
Need to step it up.
But in the meantime, I'm happy to support all these teams within this lobby in PMGC 2022. Everyone that's made it this far, all the players who fell along the way, did so much to get here in the first place. Again, there's been some great storylines throughout the entirety of the group stages. Some teams really pushing it to the absolute limit to get towards this position, knocking out teams that maybe everyone thought would be in the grand finals right at that last second. And I think, you know, one of those teams is Inco, and the fact that they've been able to come in today swinging is really nice because, you know, it's a team that knocked out Titans, HVP. You're like, maybe that last game was somewhat lucky, and also the fact that they had the exact amount of eliminations that they needed, and they had to perform here in the grand final, so it wasn't just, you know, a lost cause, and they have. So again, you respect the fact that they have been training in the background to get to this point, to get to this level where they perform on the grand final stage.
YHC have spotted Ravenclaw. Godless wants to line it up, opens, but Ravenclaw immediately repositions. Two players not quite able to get that team spray down, and Vampire now aware of the position to their threat on their western side. Godless looking in through those doors, peeking in, but not really taking any challenges just yet. Both teams on that northern side will start to skirt down that coast as quick as they decide to. Fireflux in the midst of it amongst the central cluster on the northern side of things, with S2G out to their northern edge. 5th place right now for S2G, 19 points. They've had some good runs so far today. I feel like this is a team that most teams should be worried about.
Yeah, I think Fireflux too, but they really haven't shown us that big amount of firepower as of yet. Those team fights that we expect from Fireflux, I think playing on the edge at the moment isn't really helping them very much. There's a lot of these teams are already dead center on a central type gameplay. So I think for them heading in from the edge, already so many positions within the circle are taken up. So very, very, very frequently we are seeing Fireflux immediately get taken down. So this time around, they are hovering towards that line on the circle, which I think is a much better idea. It's still technically edge, but it's not what they were doing before, which was right on the edge of the blue instead.
Wolves, again, not the best of days so far. 1 point total, and they've just lost 3 of their players. Only Memory now left standing, and Inco, to be fair, I think this is the second time that they've taken the fight with this team and been able to win it on out. Really good result for them. Order up the top as well, spotted by Stalwart. As Nenebete cruises on through with the auto shotgun. Memory on the menu now. Needs to keep it together.
Oh
and
my.
will be able to do so. Nenebete shuts that one down faster than anything. 16th place, and Wolves drop down to the bottom of the tables.
I mean, Seven was saying they need to pick something up, and so was Max, in fact, and they just really haven't. I think for Wolves, that adaptation is not coming through as of yet.
Ooh. Paraboy looking to light them up here against Stalwart. Scry makes it across, and Paraboy just wants to slow things down in the smoke train there. Scry forced to reposition, forced to get up. And the nade's not quite finding it. Looking to be able to get a heal through as well. Has to reposition. Can't quite find the respite he was looking for. The rest of Stalwart fall back and do manage to get their full heals off. Action now across the way. Scry finally knocked, as Action now can be that linchpin, that forward position for them, but needs to leverage properly. Action half HP. Fireflux aren't too far away. Potential to third party in the engagement, but the nades from Action need to be on point. He's only got one, however, as King has fallen for Nova in the back. Needs to hold this line on the wall. Paraboy will spot the player crawling out, and Action shut down.
Paraboy predicted that entire rotation going through from Stalwart. He even looks for another. Really, really on the money there was Paraboy. Not a single movement or tactic was missed from him. Keeping the rest of his boys in check there. It's over towards that western side. I think for Stalwart it's going to be incredibly difficult now for them to be able to get through. And there it is, they're out 15th.
17 points so far on the day. So close in on their halfway mark for their matches that they will have played on the first day of proceedings. Buradam, they started on this eastern side near Lakawi. They've shunted a little bit further down towards Kampong, and now they're guarding out DRS, who have tried to swim all the way through from docks. And it's really not going their way. Killer flushed out. Kengzo picks up a point. Delta at the back. Rules really close to this cliff face now. I don't know if Kengzo knows about this player forwards, but might have a little bit of an inkling in a minute or two when he doesn't see any more of DRS towards the back. And you can see he's already scouting that one. Paraboy spotted. Fireflux are into this fight. I said they were close by to the engagement, and now they're starting to look to pick it up, but that's actually Geekfam to steal that one away. You can see them just a little bit further away on the top of that hill, on the back foot there. And Nova caught between Fireflux and Geekfam. It's really, really sticky here. Order falls, and now it's just Jimmy remaining with the Tommy gun.
Indeed it is. Jimmy from Nova looking for a little bit more here. Obviously, Fireflux played a little bit further towards this edge side, towards the circle itself. They found themselves in position, and that's Nova out. 4 eliminations so far found.
That is not quite the performance they were looking for, but Geek found 5 eliminations now on the game. All 4 of them alive. They can turn their attention to Fireflux. DRS are out. That's the second place team on the overall standings right now. And Alpha 7 with a chance to leapfrog. They are currently tied with DRS, and the chicken dinner is the tiebreaker between them. So now Alpha 7 can start to try and open up a little bit of a lead against them as they perform further into this game. Ketch, the forward position for Fireflux in the engagement with Geekfam, has been knocked. And Solus, in the meantime, by Yuhai, spotted out and dispatched. Solke, another casualty now in the engagement as Alpha 7 chime in.
Alpha 7 looking really good on this match to take some big numbers home for themselves. 2 eliminations so far. S2G above them. This is the difficulty, though. This is a strong team from Turkey looking to leapfrog, take over this position. Inco biding their time down towards that southern side, and it's the east edge that looks absolutely treacherous, dangerous as anything. Buradam, 4am, T2K, Vampire Esports and IHC still battling out for a position on this edge.
Schweppes cuts down Demo as he tries to leave the beach. Will not be able to go any further as he picks up the point for it. Vampire surviving with 1 now. Just Schweppes, but the blue zone is there. T2K not having a successful cross. Schweppes may be a position that is unknown for the rest of the teams further into the circle. See if he can get a little bit further, but T2K might be on the lookout for him. Geek Fam take a knock as they start to move in towards this next part of the circle, but Alpha 7's position is nigh on unassailable, Blank.
Yeah, this is the walls that will just slow you down. A lot of this is going to be fighting more against the compound than it is fighting against Alpha 7. That's the difficulty. Inco, though, will send themselves directly into this engagement. Carrillo, Mafioso, all looking up towards that northern side. And Inco, just a quick rotate, a quick scout, get the bearings, find out what's going on. And I think right now, though, Alpha 7 is completely preoccupied with that northern side.
They've spotted S2G, and they're taking shots out that way as well. Rig forcing S2G to move along that close side of the hill, which forces them to take the fight with Alpha 7, which allows Inco to move on through. It's all swings and roundabouts. It's all impacting one another. And Geek Fam cannot quite bring out that challenge. Pombet stays alive for the home team. And top 8 for them.
Pombet looking for at least 1 more here. Geek. It's going to be unlikely they'll be taken down, but at least 1 is found there. Pombet might not have found themselves the flush, but it is something.
Ooh. A nade comes on through, and 2 for Revo. A double knock over towards Inco. You said they weren't paying attention to the south. Maybe they don't need to now because Revo's on the job. Absolutely blasts them to pieces. Taken in half now, decimated. And now it's a 1-2 Brazil table with Alpha 7 racking up the points. Finally, Alter Ego eliminated. 8th place now. 7 teams remain, 21 players. 4 players alive on both 4 Angry Men and S2G.
For Inco, Nenebete Vitali, that is the last thing you want is Revo. When he looks so good, his nades are just completely spectacular. Very hard to take him off that kind of streak. I remember getting him the 4K grenade over in the group stage in that last chance that just sent them right straight through to the grand finals. Just looked phenomenal at the time. And again, Alpha 7 will not be leaving this compound. GeekFam, S2G, T2K, Inco, 4AM all have a very, very difficult road ahead of them, but it all ends in Alpha 7.
GeekFam with 10 eliminations so far. Going into this game with 1 point, this is what you wanted to see. Especially on Sandhawk, it is that wildcard map. Rack those performances up if you can get them. 4 Angry Men, 6 eliminations of their own. We'll play on with 3 from the south side, near to the duo remaining from Inco, as Geek now have a building in the circle.
Just to get up there, but Revo's already sent the God nade over towards this position before. He's had practice, he's ready to do it again. Micah wants nothing to do with it. Revo sends a couple of sprays on towards that position. 4AM maybe he's going to take this opportunity as MWWX actually finds Vitali in the back. This is really good there for 4AM.
Mafioso doesn't get knocked, a really important factor there for Alpha 7's hold, especially against S2G as Silas gets spotted, but there's an AWM in play. It sees Hamzy and claps him, but unfortunately it's just not enough. There's not that many barrels on it, there's only the one, and Alpha 7 will just shut them out of the circle.
Alpha 7 not taking any chances here. They know they wanted a big game to compete with Inco, but Inco already find themselves up towards that top 6 is really still good news, and 5 eliminations found for themselves. Still going well. Alpha 7 on the other hand, 8 eliminations, 4 alive, almost certainly a chicken dinner. Getting a few more eliminations on this game would be great to send them towards that top standing.
Certainly would. At the start of the game, the gap was 18 points between Alpha 7 and Inco. 3 of those points have been closed, so they would need a whole heap more, but you've got to start somewhere. A nade in from Carrillo into the